it out too. I tweeted out the submarine thing as well too. And I meant to go ahead and cover that as well too. Like you said, there's so many different things. But yeah, man, that's that whole submarine thing. Yo, what's the point? Like everybody knows the Titanic is sank. What's the point? I don't. I didn't really dig the whole point of going down there. We know what happened. We know it's wrecked at the bottom of the ocean, or not completely at the bottom of the ocean. Like, what's the point of even going getting in a submarine to go down here and look at the actual wreckage of something that's been sunk for damn near what 100 years?
Man, over 100. And here's the thing, man. This is just another example of people that have a lot of money and they really don't know what to do with this money. I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. It's just like what Jesus was trying to tell that wealthy man in the Bible. When he came up to Jesus, he said, "Father, what would you have me to do? Because what do I need to do to get into heaven?" That's what he wanted to know. What can he do to get into heaven? And Jesus told him, "Get rid of all of your worldly possessions and follow me." Right? This man just stood there and looked at Jesus like he was crazy, right? This is what you see with the wealthy out here. They can't get rid of none of this worldly possession. They don't know what to do with themselves. But look at all the poverty that surrounds us, right? So you would think that people would take this money and try to do something with it to help humanity, but they could give a fuck about humanity, you see? And so what they do out here, they waste the money, like what they do here with this Titanic, and see now they sunk somewhere and they can't be found. I hate to say it, y'all. You just about want to say, "Hey, man, shit, that's your downfall." I mean, but I know that sounds like I'm being inhumane. But hey, since you got this money, give back some of this money to society to help people. Because look at all the problems that we have out here with poverty and all the other issues. Take that money and do something better with it than doing this crap right here.
Yeah, I agree, man. That's crazy, but unfortunately, that's a horrible way to die, and you actually see it coming as well too. That's a jacked up way to die, but hey, you haven't actually basically you're gonna either drown to death, you're gonna suffocate, and you actually see it coming as well too. You're out there in the cold, dark ass ocean, so horrible way to die. Shout out to everybody over there on YouTube, my guys and girls, my ladies, gentlemen, everybody over there on YouTube. Y'all go ahead and make sure y'all share the broadcast. We ain't gonna waste no time. I see the space is starting to come a little bit towards our people getting up in here. Y'all go ahead and tweet out the space as well too, and we're gonna go ahead and start touching up on all of these topics. I want to go ahead and get it flowing, get it rolling. So y'all go ahead. Hey DJ, what's up? You in the space? I know you was going back and forth to YouTube. You up in the space?
I'm everywhere. What's going on, black people? How y'all doing today? Newstoter, what's going on?
What's up? What's up? How you say? Hey, how y'all pronounce Russell Simmons' daughter name? Is it Aki? Uki? What is it?
Ain't it Ari or Oki or Oki?
Aoki, yeah, I think.
Yeah, Oki. Yeah, it's Aoki.
Aoki?
Yeah, Aoki.
Okay. Let me give a shout out real.
Charles laughing at it. He said, "No, that's not it. You know what I'm saying? Come on up here, Charles, to pronounce it."
It's Oki.
Hey, just call her Oki.
I'm gonna call her Oki. I'm sorry. I'm gonna just Oki. Oki. Aki. I don't want to say Aki because Aki the drink.
Let me get a chopped cheese, Aki.
Oki.
Yeah, hey, Aki Doki. There you go. Call her that.
Oh,
Aki Doki.
Okay. Let me give a shout out to Miss Giselle and Cognitive for your donations on Cash App, y'all. Let's go ahead and get this thing rolling tonight. It's gonna be Oki Love. I'm sorry if I butcher your name or whatever, but let me go ahead and get into it. We're gonna touch up on Russell Simmons first, y'all, because we know that's been kind of trending as well too. I don't know what kind of Father's Day that was Russell got, but damn, that had to suck. So let me go ahead and touch up on this real quick, and then we're gonna touch up on the Black farmers next. This is from Hip Hop DX. It's up in the Jumbotron. It's titled Russell Simmons Deeply Sorry for Father's Day, Family Day, Firestorm. I love you guys. Russell Simmons and his daughter Aki have been embroiled in a very public bust up this week, and the music mogul has now issued an apology as well as some advice to both his children. After the Def Jam co-founder took issue with his eldest daughter Ming wishing his ex-wife and children's mother Kimora Lee a happy Father's Day on Instagram on Sunday. That's kind of weird, wishing the mama a happy Father's Day, but oh well. A family firestorm ensued with both Kimora and the youngest daughter Aoki. I'm butchering this child's name. Aoki, taking aim at him online on Monday night. Simmons took to Instagram to apologize to his kids while also telling them he believes they are going through growing pains and that his advice would be to smile and breathe through the adversity and struggle. God is testing you a little bit, but it's okay. Be strong. They are called growing pains, he wrote alongside a photo of Ming and Aoki. As you know, we grow through adversity and struggle. You read my books and heard me preach your whole childhood. Reach back to old lessons and remember, smile and breathe. Heart emoji, smile and breathe. He continued, you are the watchers of this world, so let go. Be at ease. God is driving and he is working on your heart. Deeply sorry for being frustrated and yelling, but know this, there are no conditions. For sure, I love you guys more than I love myself. The family drama started on early Sunday morning when the Simmons' oldest, Ming, wished her mother Kimora a happy Father's Day on Instagram story. In turn, Simmons took to his story with a not-so-subtle message, posting a meme that read, stop telling fathers they should fought harder to see their children and start asking mothers why he had to fight at all. The following day, Kimora took to Instagram Live to air out her ex-husband. Among other things, the baby fat mogul said she had Simmons blocked for some time now, yet he still posts on social media as if they're tight. The youngest daughter, Aoki, then joined in sharing not so nice messages from her father and even a muted video where he appeared to be manically raging at her on FaceTime. According to Aoki, she and her family have exhausted all options trying to repair the relationship with the music mogul, and they feel he may have had a mental health issue. My father is not well. For years, he needs help, and he won't accept that. He refuses to acknowledge he is not himself. She wrote in a post on Instagram, he has threatened and bullied my sister, my grandma. He has harassed my grandma in the middle of the night in poor health. Send a man to my sister's apartment at 2 a.m. to scare her. She continued, he lashes out at anyone who does not say, oh, Russell, everything is fine. Well, it's not fine. If I never get a fashion job again, like he threatens, I will be a lawyer, I guess, and work in the criminal justice. Sure, I love my job, but if it takes it away from me, I won't die. You don't threaten my sister, grandma, and mother and say, who's going to believe you? I'm Russell Simmons. Nobody thinks I'm crazy. Well, he is. Russell Simmons has been kept relatively low profile since sexual assault accusations levied against him came to light in 2020. The music mogul's sexual assault accuser, Drew Dixon, shared a story on the controversial HBO Max documentary On the Record, along with a handful of other women with similar accusations against him. Simmons has denied the allegations and reportedly provided Oprah Winfrey with over 24 people who could corroborate his story of innocence as she worked on the documentary, although she later pulled out before the actual film was aired. Yikes. That's a hell of a way for Father's Day to actually come into effect as well, too. Like, yo, like what's up with the I don't know the personal situation, but what's up with all of the actual the like, why wish your mom a happy Father's Day? Like, your mom is your mom. Like, I get people say, well, the mom sometimes takes on both roles, and the dad, even I had told my aunt, like, mom's like, yeah, I wish her a happy Mother's Day. She's like, well, happy Mother's Day to you too, because you she like, you take on the role as a mother. I'm like, no, like, I ain't no mama. Like, I'll settle for the Father's Day, but no, auntie, no way, no how. So that's just kind of, I don't know, man. That's I hate to see something like that. The kids airing them out, the ex-wife airing them out. Nobody knows exactly what's going on in that family or whatever. Kimora Lee, she's the mogul of Baby Fat. Let's not forget that Baby Fat is just an offspin of Fat Farm, which Russell Simmons is the creator of as well, too. So I know Kimora is supposed to be a mogul, and I know she was a model and this and that or whatever, but yikes. She did use the Simmons name for a long time after they divorced, and she was still able to go ahead and profit from off of that. So, I don't know exactly. Like I said, I can't speak on the situation with the kids, I wish that the kids wouldn't have got involved. I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going on with the family, but it's not a good look. Wish they didn't have to go ahead and air it out on Instagram or and all these other places as well too. That sucks. And hopefully, I don't know what's going on with Russell as well either. So I don't know. It's a sad situation. Like I said, sometimes we see with the kids and stuff like that. We see other celebrities when it happened with Steph Curry and his mom and dad was going through a nasty divorce and stuff like that. And Steph, kind of took the side of the mother. Sometimes it's best. I know it's not easy as being adult kids, or whatever you want to call it. But sometimes maybe it's best to let the parents actually work it out, work through it or whatever without actually getting involved. I know that's easier said than done. And you're going to always have that affinity for your mother. So, but it would be nice to actually sometimes, hey, talk to your parents, both of them, like, hey, we don't need to go ahead and air this out publicly or whatever. But hell, the daughters was airing him out as well. The youngest daughter, she was airing him out as well too. So, like I said, seems like it's quite a bit of resentment there. But oh well. Let's go ahead and get it rolling, y'all. We're going to go ahead and we're going to touch up on the other articles too. But since we got some hands up, let's go ahead and get the thing cracking. Volvo, what's up? You got it. No, you low. You got your headset on or something?
No, I'm on the speaker. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you better now.
Yeah, I'm a little under the weather, so I might be a little low, but hopefully.
No, I can hear you good now. Just keep at that level. I hear you good.
Okay, I just want to say to the women, that like I remember growing up, I used to hear women say I'm the mother and the father, and I used to hear people say that's my mother and my father. That's a knock on the woman, in my opinion. Me as a grown man going through stuff that I'm going through with my baby mama. That's a knock on the woman. I mean, my daughter don't do no shit like that, but that shows that it's a problem there. You know what I mean? Let me say this, right? I don't want to tell too much of my personal information because I say a lot of controversial stuff on here online, so I try to keep my personal business offline. But how can I say this without how can I say that? As a you hurt a child by doing that. By it, let me say this. I'm gonna say this. Just because the man might not want to be with you, right? Things don't work out all the time. That's a situation I'm going through. I don't want to be with her, and the child is not a weapon. It's what I'm trying to say. The child is not a weapon to get back at the man. So you should never, if this guy is a real good dude, you shouldn't bash the man in front of the child or make the child feel a certain type of way. People follow the leader, and as a mother, you are the leader of the child. So if you feel a certain type of way about the man, keep that to yourself, because this is the man that you created this life with. This is the man that you procreated with. So you need to keep that. You need to keep that to yourself. Sometimes things don't work out between people, but that don't got nothing to do with the child. You damaging this human being by doing shit like that. So if she's saying Happy Father's Day to the now I don't know their situation, but I know it's a lot of baby mama drama and baby daddy drama in the black community. So I'm just saying that I don't know their situation. And just for the record, Russell Simmons do seem weird as fuck to me. That's for the record. But I don't know the situation. But I just wanted to drop that to you. The child is not a weapon for the man or for the woman. I appreciate you letting me speak, brother.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get to Miss Giselle. Miss Giselle, go ahead and unmute your mic.
I'm sorry. That was so funny.
What you laughing at? What you laughing at?
Was that funny? Like, it was that funny?
He is weird. Like, I think he is absolutely weird. But I came up here to say, but I can't even.
All right. All right.
It's just the way he said it. It was just the way he said it. It was just so funny. I'm sorry. Matter of fact, yes, Russell Simmons. But I think with his daughter, she's going to just don't want to hear. She want to just love both of the parents. And I don't care what like you going through with your spouse as the parent. The kids should not have to be in the midst of that. And that's just something we all like to, because you end up creating issues, mental issues for those kids. And they have to deal with it forever. And it's small stuff that'll build up over time, and then they'll have relationship issues and traumas that they'll put on other people just because of what you inflicted on them. And then, because it's on both sides, unfortunately. And the kids can, they try to, they love y'all.
Miss Giselle, you sound like you're in the Matrix.
I'm sorry, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I can hear you better now.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's raining up here. But it's like they love you both. So you got to kind of like take your personal feelings out of it. And it doesn't matter how hard it hurts. You got to bite your tongue and keep that between the adult business. And that's it. But that was hilarious. He said, Brother Simmons. And he just closed it out in a very funny way. So I thank you guys for the space tonight. And I'm off.
All right. And before he said that, Brooke over there on YouTube, Brooke had already posted before Vovo even said it to me. He's always been weird. Like that's a comment she loves. So it's like she said it and Vovo followed right up behind it. So yeah, Russell is a character. I'll say that much. Yeah, he's
the problem was I just like when he said that I imagined him doing the yoga.
Yeah, you talking about the yoga where the dude had him up on his legs, stretched out in the air. Like I saw that. I'm like, what in the world? Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, oh Lord, like what the hell,
and
Russell?
That's just what I felt. So
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see a grown black man sitting up there in the air like that. You know, with this cat with his legs and got him stretched up like that. I saw that too. I was like, what in the world is Russell doing here? But to each is his own.
That was trauma for his kids too. That's trauma right there. That's trauma.
Yeah.
Kids seeing, everybody has to look at that. It's crazy to me. But yeah.
Yeah. Shizm, go ahead and unmute your mic. How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. I had wanted to kind of chime in, I guess. I don't know. I get bothered when I hear men say, just because we don't want you no more, you don't have to go through this. I don't think it's always about that. And it shouldn't always be about that. I think that'd be a blanket general statement. Yeah, when you separate, divorce, or wasn't married and you had children and then it don't work out, everybody gonna be mad. But that'd be, he's like, God damn, I think that's immature, really. Because just to think, because if the relationship was just about sex, it's always gonna be a problem. Because either somebody's not getting enough of it or somebody's giving it to somebody else, and that shouldn't be the basis. And then when you have children, yeah, it's a dynamic that makes it different. That's why the situation is different, because now you got children. And if the mother has the children and then somebody's not assisting and providing, which would be the dad, we're not going to blame him, because we have single fathers and we know that mothers lead their children too. But whoever's left in the situation and somebody's not doing their part, that's a stress. I don't care how you put it, it's a stress. And it will stress the children, even if the parent doesn't mention anything about the other parent. The children are going to notice that one parent is missing. They're not blind. When they go to school and they see their other kids, their friends, dad, bringing them to school, picking them up, coming to, some of the events, coming to the class, the parent conferences. Other children notice that. And so we can't say, oh, well, you got to leave the kids out. They always are going to be involved. And I think I heard no taxation, or maybe it was Wellsing or somebody say something about emotional intelligence. See, that's a work in progress for some people. Everybody doesn't have that, and everybody doesn't deal with their emotions the same. And so I know when I was coming up, see, we didn't have all this extra. We sure didn't have social media, and when dads was literally digging in their wives' ass, and some of those women stayed and took a lot of those ass whoopings, and the children were watching. Some of the children had to put ice packs and stakes on their mama's eyes and call the police on daddy. Yeah, and they still love their daddy and they still love their mama. And some of those families are still together still today. And so it's sad that they had to put it out on social media, but maybe that was the way to grab dad's attention. Because maybe dad wasn't listening. Maybe they needed to say, I'm about to embarrass you right quick. Because you do think you the shit, and you think that you can just hurt our feelings. And sometimes parents do that. Sometimes we say things we're not supposed to. Sometimes we do things that we're not supposed to do. But it happens. But they shouldn't do that. But it ain't always, he don't want her. They was divorced. And if he was kicking her and her husband some money, shame on fucking him. Because ain't no way, if I had a whole bag like that, I'd give my ex and his wife some fucking money. Hell no, y'all bitches got to go to work. Because you're not about to get it off me. So maybe that was one of his mistakes. And maybe that was the other mistake for her husband to even ask for some money. He had his fucking nerves too. But they all in the mix anyway. Because she talking about Diddy, little sex escapades with some little gay shit he got going on. Ain't they be doing too damn much. But it just give us something to talk about, though, that's for sure. Thank you.
All right, all right, all right. Let me go ahead and get to our professor, and then I want to go ahead and I want to touch up on some of the other articles too, because I know we just gonna go back and forth, guys. So I just want to go ahead and get those out as well too. I know y'all want to talk about Russell and feel free, but I want to touch up on the other ones. Professor, matter of fact, go ahead real quick, and then I'm gonna go ahead and touch up on this black farmer, which is a pretty quick article.
Well, I'm gonna say this, family. Russell Simmons, man. God bless the brother, because he's still our brother no matter what faults he might come with, because we all come with some faults, and we all are in the flesh. So when you're in the flesh, you make mistakes in life, and you try to do what you can to make up for these mistakes until it's your time to get the hell up out of here, and which we all gonna do that. That's for sure. That's a guarantee. Now, with that being said, the problem out here in this society today is social media, because everybody now wants to throw all their personal shit all on social media. This is not the place to bring your family bullshit for other people to have to hear it. Because, hell, I don't want to hear your personal stuff. Your personal family stuff should stay within your family. So these children, or this Aoki, or whatever her damn name is, she need to stay off social media with private matters. Keep it with your family. And if her mom, and see, this is the thing, the moms have a tendency to push these kids up to do this type of shit, see. Now, this serves Russell Simmons right, because I'm going to tell you why it serves him right. Because you shouldn't have married a goddamn yellow ricer in the first damn place. That's what she is, a yellow ricer. You shouldn't have married her. That's right. You married a damn Asian woman because she looked good and she looked halfway black with a big booty or whatever. But damn, she still, at the end of the day, she in the yellow rice fields. That's what she belongs.
She is mixed though, Professor. She is black and Asian, I believe.
Man, whatever. She look more Asian than me. Anyway, that damn thing that he married is a yellow ricer. So next time, don't marry one of them. That's right. Don't marry no damn yellow ricer. And what you need to do is marry you a black queen and be done with it. Shit, so you don't have to be going through all this shit. And this, you know what I'm saying? It comes down to just picking women that are quality women, and don't worry about picking women that are all about gold digging and cum dumpster type women. You don't want those types. You know what I'm saying? Kamani, what's her name? Okay, well, her name is Kamani Yellow Ricer. That's her name.
Kamora Lee.
No, Kamora Lee, my bad. Kamora Lee, Yellow Ricer.
Hey, chill on the Yellow Ricer too, for they hit us with a strike too on YouTube, man. Chill with the Yellow Ricer, man.
but my thing is, y'all, she looks good to magazines, right? But see, that's where he got in trouble at. He picked a woman that he saw was a model type woman, but she was a gold digger. See, she was a gold digger from the start. So this is your fault, Russell. See, now you're being blasted all on social media, man. But anyway, shout out to that brother, man, and hopefully him and his family can get it all together. The daughter needs to keep all this personal stuff off the social media sites and just stay off of this. Keep everything private. And this time, don't choose the yellow rice. Yeah, there you go.
I just told this man to chill on that. He still came back with it. Let me go ahead real quick, y'all. I'm gonna touch up on the black farmers. For those that want to speak, go ahead and raise your hand. We'll get to you. Let me touch up real quick on the actual black farmer situation. I know it's been a little while since we heard from them. This is from Black Enterprise. Black farmers pressure federal government as they wait for promised financial assistance. This article is pretty. It's something else when you hear the actual how everything gets just looped into here. In 2022, Congress revoked funding for the federal government that would eliminate outstanding debt for minority farmers. Now those farmers are fighting back in a class action lawsuit. On August 22, 2022, President Biden signed into law the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. According to the USDA, this action reversed Section 1005 of the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, which guaranteed funding and authorization for the federal government to pay up to 120% of direct and guaranteed loan outstanding balances for socially disadvantaged farmers and ranchers. You see how the thing was, it was really originally meant for black farmers, and then everybody started whining and complaining about it and stuff like that. So you had to go ahead and throw everybody up into the mix. In October of the same year, News One reported the farmers and ranchers filed a lawsuit against the United States government alleging that the federal government had reneged on its contract. The plan would have aided 15,000 Black, Native American, Alaskan Native, Asian American, Pacific Islander, and Hispanic and Latino farmers represented by civil rights attorney Ben Crump. The National Black Farmer Association is pursuing legal action in an effort to receive proper compensation. It's a out of all of the groups, black people, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got 6 groups up in this group, and you got black people that's going to have to go ahead with something that historically black farmers have had lost millions of acres of property. John Wesley Boyd Jr., founder and president of. Hey, somebody needs to mute their mic. Melvin. Hey, Melvin, you got to mute your mic, bro. John Wesley Boyd Jr., founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association, spoke with News One that October, expressing his dismay at the unexpected change. I'm very, very disappointed in the legislature action. I'm prepared to fight for the debt relief for Black, Native American, and other farmers of color all the way to the Supreme Court. I'm not going to stop fighting this, Boyd told the news outlet. An official statement published on his website, Attorney Crump claims the government also breached contracts under Section 1006 of the ARPA. Those contracts would have granted financial compensation to minority farmers who experienced past discrimination from the USDA. However, the USDA remained adamant that its failure to disperse the funds was due to an ongoing legal battle. Its official statement emailed to News One read, USDA strongly supported the ARPA Section 1005 program and was ready to make payments to direct loan borrowers. However, the $5 billion that was intended to help farmers was frozen by 3 nationwide injunctions and prevented the USDA from getting payments out the door. The USDA says the Inflation Reduction Act offers a new way to provide relief to indebted farmers, stating Congress provided $3.1 billion that would allow USDA to be able to work. Hey, Melvin, you're going to have to keep your mic muted. Congress provided You say it's a troll.
Yeah, he a troll.
Nigga, watch your mouth. Ain't nobody a troll, nigga.
All right, yeah, let's get Melvin dumbass up out of here.
Obviously, some type of Latino or some shit like that.
Yeah, don't bring Melvin back up here either. Congress provided 3.1 billion that would allow USDA to be able to work with distressed farmers to provide help with their farm debts and a new and more effective ways to help keep borrowers as much as possible stay on their land, stay in agriculture, and maintain eligibility for future assistance. The organization also shared that farmers who experience past discrimination will be awarded 2.2 billion for additional financial aid as months have passed with no movement. Farmers have grown restless and frustrated with what they believe is inequality. Something is terrible, terribly wrong with this picture, and we have to look at what's really going on. The American farmer is suffering right here with the highest input costs we've had in our nation's history for America's farms. We are here struggling and we're managing to help countries like China, Russia, America's two biggest adversaries, said Boyd on June 2nd in an interview with Fox and France First. Farmers and ranchers remain steadfast in their mission to receive compensation despite the setbacks having played an essential role in the country's food production. They feel it is time they reap the benefits of their hard work. Too many people are included in that. I'm sorry. I don't have anything against these other farmers, but as soon as they start talking about doing something for black people, you start getting white farmers suing. You started getting Latino farmers suing. You start having everybody sitting up here griping and complaining and talking about why we can't get a piece of this and whatever. That $5 billion that they would give. First off, that $5 billion should be going to those black farmers. Secondly, that $5 billion is chump change for the amount of nonsense that these black farmers have gone through from the time. I mean, they've had millions of acres of property stolen. They've been squeezed out by big corporate America. They're paying other farmers subsidies and everything else not to grow this, not to grow in that. They picking winners and losers, and for the simple fact that black people, like I say, have been discriminated. And any time that it's time for them to actually get something, then everybody has their hand in it. Everybody's whining. Everybody's talking about you can't just do this for black people. That's unfair. You can't just do that for black people. If you're gonna do that for them, you got to cut us in. We've been discriminated just as much. No, you have not. Not one of those farmers on there, from the Latinos to the, and then like I said, you got all together, you got 6 groups. Black people make up one group. You got Latinos and Hispanics, and then you got the AAPI. You got like 4 different Asian groups that's up in there. Now, what in the world are we talking about here? You got to split all of this up. And like I say, it's peanuts anyways, and compared to what the black farmers actually should be getting anyways. Volvo, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I just want to say this: these people not real Americans. They not real Americans. They here for money. So if they see us getting anything, they gonna always it's gonna always be offensive. It's gonna always worry them, bother them, keep them up at night. They're gonna always be jealous about it. Anything. We talk about reparations. Not a Latino said, I'm Native. I'm a Native American. We deserve some reparation. Anything we do, anything we say, do anything, it's gonna always bother them because they not about what's right. They about money. They here for money. That's it. So yeah, that we always gonna receive pushback on that from them. Notice this: white farmers been getting all type of benefits, stipends, grants. They have always been getting it. Ain't no pushback for that. Never. You will never see an Asian challenge a white man about no money. You will never see a Latino challenge no white man about no money. Never. We would see it by now. It's always about us. They can't challenge white people about anything because they don't have to admit what they is. They don't have to admit that they're here for money. They'd have to admit that they not real Americans. Once white people start telling them the truth, see, white people use them as bluffers, so they ain't telling them the truth now. Once white people tell them, what you doing in this country then? Because you can't go to a country and challenge the dominant society, because then you got to tell the truth on yourself. I can't go to China and say, I don't like Chinese people. They're gonna be, well, what the fuck you over here for then? I can't go to Mexico and challenge Mexicans. They're gonna be, what you over here for then? Like, go back where you came from, and then you have to that you in America for money. So they'll never challenge white people. There's never been a time in America where white farmers haven't been given stuff just for being white farmers. They get deals on equipment to run those farms. I'm telling you, I'm a truck driver. I done been on these farms. I done worked on these farms. I done delivered to these farms. These people got $500,000. One piece of equipment, $500,000. They ain't bought that shit. They done got all types of grants, deals, back table deals to get them big things to harvest. I forgot what it's. I don't want to get too far into it, but they done got all types of deals and grants and set asides and all that just for having a farm. You ain't never gonna hear none of the minorities, none of the minorities challenge white people about nothing. I appreciate you letting me speak, brother.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100% on that as well too. And you're right. Every time, it never fails. Whenever it's a black person, if it was a group of white people that was going to get that, you're right. None of them would say anything about that. But the simple fact, as soon as it's something that a black person is going to get, and something that a black person deserves as well too, property just stolen, just taken, just completely. Everybody in this family probably has family members from the late 1800s, 1900s, just had property just stolen out of their family, just taken for just stolen. And then anytime you sit up here and you say something about it, you got these other groups sitting up here talking, well, we've been, and see, this is directly goes back to the civil rights movement. Once you went ahead and started letting everybody sitting up here and start playing this whole game that we all equal and we all been through the same thing and kumbaya, my Lord, and all this other stuff, and we are the world. This is what you get right here. You said, like you said, you got some Hispanics, not all, but you got some sitting up here saying that, no, you were not in the country first. The people that was in the country, Hispanics are a mixed race. They're mixed between black, white, and Asian. That's what they make. Mainly white and Asian, but some of them have black in them as well too. So no, you were not in the country when the country was first founded. Let's stop that nonsense. No, you were not. And just constantly just going ahead and that thing really made me mad. And you can't get black people to actually sit up here and say, hey, you know what, we're gonna fight. Y'all already taking everything from us. No, you're not going to include every single group, because if this was about Asian farmers, even if it was about Asian farmers, Volvo, you would not have Latinos trying to plot and come in there. They'd be like, okay, if the Latinos was getting theirs, you wouldn't have the Asians say, well, we got to be included. Only when it's black people does everybody have to be included. If it was any of these groups, if it was a Jewish group, if it was a white women, if it was LGBTQ, if it was anybody, only when it's black people, and they think it's something that's going to benefit. Whenever it's something for black people, that means we all supposed to get it. We all supposed to share in it. And that goes back to the civil rights movement. I am thankful for what our ancestors went through in the 60s. And I appreciate some of the things that took place. Some of the things, though, got screwed up. Just be honest. It got screwed up. And now we sitting up here having to go along with this nonsense. You can't even sit and speak to a crowd of black people with a politician without him talking about black and brown. Even that space yesterday, we was talking about RFK Jr. And even in his space, he's talking about people of color and this. And it's like, you just can't, you talking about you want to address black people issues, but it's always unserved communities and marginalized communities, as they love to say. No, man, damn the marginalized communities. We talking about black people. And I wish the head of the Black Farmers Association would also say that too. Like, look, when they start look, we're not talking about all these other groups. We're talking about strictly black farmers and black farmers only. Nobody else is going to be included in this lawsuit. And then you start, like I said, you start having the white folks sitting up here, like you say, Bobo. They get all kind of interest-free grants, and they get all kind of, interest-free loans, and they get grants, and they get forgivable loans and everything else. They get all kind of. They got the top of the line property and everything. They gave them the most fertile soil and everything. The fertilizer and the seeds and everything they get is the best. While sometimes they're giving these black people shit for seeds and whatnot to go out there and grow stuff, hoping that they fail. So yeah, it's just ridiculous. And they constantly keep going along with this stuff. Eventually, and then even Ben Crump going along with this. Like, this is a damn class. There are more groups involved in something that was supposed to be for black people. There are more groups involved than actually black people. You got 5 other groups involved in this thing, and you got one group that's black. Let me count the groups again. You got Native American 1, you got Asian Native 2, you got Asian American 3, you got Pacific Islander 4, you got Hispanic 5, you got Latino 6. So let me rephrase that. You got 6 groups of people and 1 group of black people. Who do you think is going to get the most of the resources out of this here when they split this money up? Who do you think is actually going to get the most of this money? And once again, who's going to get a fraction of it based off of the sweat and everything that your people went through? You're going to get the tiny fraction of it. Everybody's going to say, well, you know what? We gave black people money. We split it up. We had to give it to people of color as well, too. It's only fair. People of color, when most of these people of color weren't even in the damn country. Brooke, go ahead and unmute your mic, Brooke. And real quick, let me give a shout out to Brother Moku as well too. He's not in the space, but thank you, Brother Moku, for your contribution on Cash App. But go ahead, Brooke, you got it. How you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Man, you were speaking so passionately. I'm scared to follow that up. I love everything that Bobo said. Bobo is spot on. And to give some texture, some dates and stuff behind everything that Bobo said. So Abraham Lincoln actually created the USDA in the late 1800s. And then after the Civil War and after emancipation, when the slaves the enslaved had just been completely freed and were able to own land, they owned and were made up 14% of America's farmland. Now, you may have heard about a book called Grapes of Wrath, where white people started going through this desert time where there weren't any crops, and it's like before industrialization and blase, blase, blase. And so basically in the 1930s, as Black Americans, the enslaved, or former enslaved, excuse me, were building universities, and we're 14, almost 15% of farm owners. White men complained, and they went to the Capitol, and then I forgot his name, FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, wrote the New Deal, which I've never completely read it all the way through, but whatever the New Deal did, it flipped everything and created this system that Bobo was just talking about, the system of subsidies, the system of paying people not to grow things so that the prices will be higher, and doing all of that and then all the mechanics and policies, tax policies that they started writing and creating. We went from 14, almost 15% of the farmland and farmers and farm owners, food producers, to 2% in the early 1935-ish. So that's really what started creating the real Great Depression that not just white people were feeling, but then Black people started feeling it too. And all around this time, 1921, when Tulsa happened. So all of that Black Wall Street and stuff was just right out of enslavement, and we were doing so well all across the nation, and those fools couldn't take it. They were so just filled with hatred and so mad that we were being successful and creating universities, and we had all these enriched places. Think about the movie Rosewood. Just one white cracker was mad that he had a piano. He couldn't play the piano, but he just didn't think a nigga should have one. So, and then Civil Rights Act started happening, and then so the USDA has documentation of being found discriminatory towards civil rights of Black farmers
pretty much every year since the 1930s, and they have record of it, and Congress knows, and nobody gives a fuck. And so I know I've come up here once before, every time I come up, I mention how important it is that we stop going to the grocery store and find a Black farmer in your area. If this is the first time you've ever heard me say this, take a look at this profile. It's Velour-It. It's velour like the fabric, and then Velour. And we are connecting Black farmers to Black retailers, and then we're using Black trucking companies to transport goods. And without giving the secret sauce, because this is live and on YouTube, I'm just going to say that we have the means to feed ourselves through our Black farmers. We don't have to do this. We can start pulling our money out of their system. And I land my plane.
All right. Thank you, Miss Brooke. Thank you. Let me give a shout out real quick to Monique. Monique, thank you for your contribution on Cash App. Also, guys, up in the Jumbotron, we have the Newstoter YouTube channel up in there. That's what, the 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like the 5th or 6th in the middle of the actual Jumbotron. Don't put any more stuff up there, guys, in the Jumbotron. It's up in the Jumbotron. So for those that have not subscribed, go ahead and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Support us. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can listen while you actually subscribe. For those that want to support us on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. Once again, Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. That's $Newstoter, $Newstoter. For those that don't have Cash App, the Venmo and PayPal is up in the Jumbotron. You also, for everybody that's on YouTube, the links are in the description, as well as the articles that we're touching up on tonight as well, too. Rella, I'm going to get to you real quick. Let me go ahead and read this thing about the Pentagon and Ukraine, and then I'll come back to you. This is also in the Jumbotron. This was from ABC News, curator on the Newstoter.com platform. It says Pentagon accounting error provides extra $6.2 billion for Ukraine military aid. The Pentagon said Tuesday that it overestimated the value of the weapons it has sent to Ukraine by $6.2 billion over the past 2 years, about double early estimates, resulting in a surplus that will be used for future security packages. Pentagon spokeswoman Sabrina Singh said a detailed review of accounting error found that the military services used replacement costs rather than book value of equipment that was pulled from the Pentagon stocks and sent to Ukraine. She said final calculations show there is an error of $3.6 billion in the current fiscal year and $2.6 billion in the 2020 fiscal year, which ended last September 30th. As a result, the department now has additional money in its coffers to use to support Ukraine as it pursues its counter-offensive against Russia, and it comes as the fiscal year is wrapping up and congressional funding was beginning to dwindle. It's just going to go back into the pot of money that we have allocated for the future Pentagon stock drawdown, says Singh. The revelation comes as Ukraine moves ahead with early stages its counteroffensive in effort to dislodge the Kremlin's forces from territory they've occupied since full-scale invasion in February 2022. The counteroffensive has come up against heavily mined terrain and reinforced defensive fortifications, according to the commander-in-chief of Ukraine's armed forces. Russia, meanwhile, has been bombarding the region with dozens of exploding drones in an assault that has exposed gaps in the country's air protection after almost 16 months of war. Officials said Ukrainian air defenses downed 32 of 35 drones that were launched by Russia early Tuesday. The Pentagon has repeatedly used presidential drawdown authority to pull weapons, ammunition, and other equipment off the shelf so it can get to Ukraine far more quickly than going through a purchase process. Based on previous estimates announced June 13th, the U.S. had committed more than $40 billion in security assistance to Ukraine since Russia invaded. Using new calculation, the U.S. has actually provided less than $34 billion in aid. Officials have not been able to give exact totals for the amount of money that remains for the drawdowns for the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative, which provides longer-term funding to purchase weapons, including some of the larger air defense systems. The U.S. approved 4 rounds of aid to Ukraine in response to Russia's invasion, totaling about $113 billion, with some of that money going towards replenishment of U.S. military equipment that was sent to the front lines. Congress approved the latest round of aid in December, totaling roughly $45 billion for Ukraine and NATO allies. While the package was designed to last through the end of the fiscal year in September, much depends upon events on the grounds, particularly as the new counteroffensive ramps up. President Joe Biden and his senior national security leaders have repeatedly stated the United States will help Ukraine as long as it takes to repel Russian forces. Privately, administration officials have warned Ukrainian officials that there is a limit to the patience of a narrowly divided Congress and American public for the cost of war with no clear end. Members of Congress have repeatedly praised Defense Department leaders on how closely the U.S. is tracking its aid to Ukraine to ensure that it is not the subject of fraud or ending up in the wrong hands. The Pentagon has said it has a robust program to track the aid it crosses the border into Ukraine and how to keep tabs on it once it is there, depending on the sensitivity of each weapon system. Singh said the accounting mistake won't affect ongoing delivery of aid to Ukraine. What's up, Rella? You got it? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing good. Glad to have you here.
How you doing?
Hey guys.
Yeah, what up, man? What up, man?
You know what, Professor? You better say it like you mean it.
What's up, sweetie? How you doing?
All right. So, Russell Simmons, I guess you're gonna have to fill me in. I was trying to read up on what's going on between him and his children.
You hadn't heard about the whole thing with Russell and like the daughter and them going off on him on Father's Day and all of that whole fiasco?
Yeah, I'm gonna come back to that one. I have a long thought, but I'm gonna come back to that one. I agree with Brooke. Black farmers, they're not even getting the resources that they need to sustain themselves. And so I know a lot of people are looking to even doing, I think, personal gardening. Brooke could probably correct me. It's probably called something else. I know that you have community gardens, but people are actually starting gardens even in front of their lawns. To be honest with you, that's kind of how farms started. And it's almost kind of like they're trying to recycle everything. Just so like companies like Monsanto and all these other large companies like pharmaceutical companies who have big arms in the government, can turn around and feed you seeds that, they can dictate what grows, when grows, and whether or not it comes out as, GMO, non-GMO, no, GMO, excuse me. And that could be a difficult thing for us and not getting the resources to sustain the farms that the little farms that are left. I'm telling you, these people are just diabolical. It's not even that many black farmers left, but yet you have groups of people who would arm up against Black Americans and go against the government and say, no, these people shouldn't get it. You trying to pass laws that are race biased. These people shouldn't get it. Forget that they're Americans in the country where these other farmers who come to this country are able to receive resources. They ignore Black Americans still. Let me just lay that there. $6 billion to Ukraine. I think the total now, Newstoter, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like 40, wasn't it 40 billion in total?
Well, that's what it says, but then one part of it also says 113 billion.
Okay, so I saw
it says the U.S. has approved 4 rounds of aid to Ukraine in response to Russia's invasion, totaling about 113 billion.
Okay, so the first initial note, but by the end of the year, it's either on the e-commerce webs, the U.S. Commerce website or the DOJ website where they're talking about this. The article said about 40 billion will be sent. So if it's up to 100 something is the plan, there's no way you can tell me that they can't pass reparations, that they can't fix the infrastructure here. Why is it that we have homelessness at skyrocketing numbers here, but you sending money over to these two warring factions, the countries, two warring factions that would not deeply. Now, if someone can explain to me how that impacts us, if they go to war and whoever wins the war, someone explain that to me, because maybe I'm missing something.
Well, Rella, I'll not to cut you off. I'll put it even more bluntly. You just had the Biden administration talking about giving Jackson, Mississippi, 100 and something like $15 million on they know goodness well to fix the water system. And I believe it's $2 to $4 billion. So I mean, come on.
I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. So Tupac was right. They got money for wars but can't feed the poor. And it seemed like, again, this goes back to my point of when I hear people say that, well, what's voting going to do? It's not just that. There is a simultaneous or synchronous thing that we have to do to get involved, because these people are going to destroy the country. And then when push comes to shove, they're going to dip. They're going to leave and talk about something out of here. They're going somewhere else, and they're going to leave us holding the wreckage. I'm just not here for it.
Real quick, let me give a shout out to Brooke too. Brooke, thank you for your donation on Cash App, and also thank you to whoever subscribed to the YouTube channel as well too. Let me go ahead and get No Taxation, since she just came up here and she hasn't had a chance to speak yet. We're gonna get the No Taxation, and then I'm gonna get to you, Volvo and Professor. But then after No Taxation, I want to read this final article so everybody can go ahead and get it in, and y'all can touch up on whatever topics you want to touch up on. You can go back to Russell Simmons, you can go to Black Farmers, you can talk about Ukraine, but I definitely want to share the Medicaid thing as well too. But how you doing tonight? No Taxation.
And trying to recuperate from the Juneteenth festivities. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
The older you get, the longer it takes to recuperate. That's all I got to say. Hello to everybody in the room. I'm gonna start from the bottom and work my way up.
Hey, can we get you a little bit louder if possible? No Taxation.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I was seeing if I can get you. You don't have your ear pods in, do you?
No.
Okay.
I know what it is. I live out in a farming community.
Okay.
And we have dead spaces.
Okay.
So I forget about it all the time. But I'm gonna start at the bottom and work my way up. Medicaid. I think they put 1 million people. I was reading your article earlier today that you posted. I think they said 1 million people or more are being put off the rolls, but everybody should have seen this coming, because we even discussed this in one of your spaces before. And I was telling you about people that receive any type of social services between the ages of 50 and 54 have to go back to work. I don't know if you remember that, but that was part of that. So it shouldn't be surprising. The $6 billion error. Earlier this month, or late last month, they already gave Ukraine $3 billion because they found that, quote unquote, air quotes, accounting error. So I see they doubled. And if the fiscal year ends in September, maybe they think that's going to float them over. But the Ukraine government came out and said that they needed more fighter jets. And, it's war games. And that's what they do. And that's how, that's what this country stands on. Black farmers. Boy, I'll tell you something. When my father was in the Department of Agriculture, y'all probably don't remember, but years ago, this guy came out and said that worked in the Department of Ag. He said that ketchup is a vegetable. Had to do with the free lunch program. And they got him out of there and put my father in that position. And he was able to do some work for the black farmers at that time. But it was a hard job. And this was back in the 80s. Monsanto is the biggest fight in this country about food right now. And they've already sold the black farmers phony seeds. And they had to take them to court for that. And I didn't follow up on that because I just, some stuff you just can't take in because it makes you so angry. I think we should all support the efforts of what Brooke is doing down there in Texas. And especially if you live in a black community, see if you could tap into it and see what the system is that she set up down there so that we can get good food from farmers. Because I don't know if y'all seen it, but on my timeline, they just posted that lab-grown meat is going to be sold in certain restaurants and grocery stores. And so that's something else that we have to talk about, because isn't that guy that came out, you all rallied around him, that black farmer that was having problems, wasn't he raising cattle? So, you know, that's something to look at. Now, I saved the best.
You talking about the Mallories?
Yes, the out there in Colorado, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, I think he's a cattle farmer, if I'm not mistaken. And so, you know, they get ready to sell lab grown meat to us, because white folks ain't gonna get it anyway, and the immigrants will eat it too. Anyway, I saved the best for last, because I have been dragging Russell Simmons ever since he built that big house out there in Jersey and had a gold toilet. That was probably before y'all's time. A solid gold toilet, and had it all on TV. He was married to Kimora by them. People think that Kimora was after him for his money, but that's a lie. She was wearing Chanel when he saw her. She was a top model, world renowned. Karl Lagerfeld got her and put her on. Okay, so she had money. Just the fact that she was in high school and was making that kind of money coming out of St. Louis. He went and got her. He never did anything directly. He went through the agents, her modeling agents. That's how he got her. And he ain't been shit ever. Okay? His brother, who I have a lot of respect for, not Reverend, not that one. He's all right, the rapper. But I'm talking about the real black one.
You talk about Danny?
Yeah, lives in Harlem and collects. I think he's a black artist.
He does his painting and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, you never hear about him. And he got a little museum, something in his house, stuff like that. You know, he got probably a big brownstone, I would imagine. But he's nothing like his brother. That's for sure. He met that girl when she was young. That his daughter was crying on. Let's not get it twisted. She said the father was okay until a few years ago. So what happened? I'm gonna tell y'all something. Go back and Google me and Russell Simmons, and you'll hear the whole story. Russell Simmons stole so much money from poor black folks with that rush card. It wasn't even funny. The story behind that rush card is that he waited for everybody to get their direct deposit, the majority of the people. The money was being held at J.P. Morgan Chase. He decided to take the money out of J.P. Morgan Chase that morning when the direct deposit hit and put it in some other, not even Wells Fargo, some old off-brand bank. And he had that Chinese billionaire. He got that money from him, and they opened up the Celsius water, which Celsius sports drinks.
No taxation. Let me just say allegedly, just for the space sake.
Well, it's documented. But you could say allegedly, but it's documented. It's documented by J.P. Morgan Chase.
Yeah, that is true, Newstoter. What's your source, sir?
Go back and look. Google
Look it up. Rush card issue.
In 2015. That's when it happened. In October of 2015.
Say it again.
I said go back in the search bar on Twitter and put in Life and More Life and Russell Simmons. Because I stayed on his ass so much so that he blocked me. The only reason I'm not blocked now is because what's his name bought Twitter? Musk. And everybody got unblocked. Okay? But he blocked me because I told the story. Him, Kimora, and I don't know what she had to do with it, but I know what he had to do with it. Because black people did not get their money. They had to take him to court. People were losing their places to live, their cars. They couldn't care for their children and pay for the babysitters. These are people that were not banking, didn't have a banking institution. And I even put up went into another different car. That's when he really started blocking me. He had to come out and make a public statement. He had a golden toilet before then. Y'all don't know what that means. The when them white boys and stuff start having them golden toilets and stuff, that means golden showers. So he ain't never been no good. You don't hear nothing about Rick Rubin, do you? What do you hear about that white man he was in business with? Nothing. But you hear a lot of shit about him. And if this child came on social media and started,
brother, she a troll, brother. She a troll.
Well, hold on, Volvo, don't do that. Don't do that. What? Yeah, don't do that, bro.
On social media and dragged him for filth, that is her right. She can say whatever she wants to about her father. Good, bad, right, left, or in between. But let it be known that his wife, his ex-wife, she didn't marry him for money. Now, you can't say that about that Jewish man that just went to prison behind all that stuff he just did. You can't say that because he's a bigot. Okay? And quiet as it's kept, they said that they fleeced. I don't know if she did, but certainly the man she married fleeced 250 million shares or something out of something. And dollars or something out of some shares in some company, and that's how he was able to pay his debt. And that was what Russell Simmons is crying about now. He's crying that he's broke. He's crying because he's broke. You don't send your daughter to Greece, like she said, for some kind of camp, and then she lands in Greece and you take the money out and she ain't got no money. You don't do that to children. I don't care what you think about that mother. That's your child. You just don't do it. And got her crying in the middle of the night in a foreign country. Come on now. Who's zooming who? He went from a golden toilet to taking $200, $300, $400 away from his daughter. Get the fuck out of here. I hope he rots in hell for what he did to black people. I hope he rots in hell. And that's all I'm going to say.
Newstoter, I'm gonna send you the CFPB report so you'll have it.
Okay. Let me go ahead real quick, y'all, and touch up on this last article about the Medicaid, and everybody can go in, raise your hand, those who want to speak. But yeah, I want to touch up on this last article, get that out the way. Let me give a shout out to my man Trenton Makes as well too. Thank you, Trenton, for your contribution on Cash App. But this is about the Medicaid situation. This is from the San Francisco Observer. I'm sorry, not San Francisco, Sacramento Observer. It's up in the Jumbotron. All the articles are up in the Jumbotron on the far right-hand side, guys. So if you want to go ahead and click it out, of course, I already read it, but if you want to read it again, that's fine. For those on YouTube, all the articles and every link is in the description. It's titled, More Than 1 Million People Are Dropped from Medicaid as States Start a Post-Pandemic Purge of Rolls. More than 1 million people have been dropped from Medicaid in the past couple months as some states move swiftly to hold health care coverage following the end of the coronavirus pandemic. Most got dropped for not filling out paperwork, though the eligibility review is required by the federal government. President Joe Biden administration isn't too pleased at how efficiently some other states are accomplishing the task. Pushing through things and rushing it will lead to eligible people, kids, and families losing coverage for some period of time. Daniel Tassi, a top federal Medicaid official, recently told reporters already about 1.5 million people have been removed from Medicaid in more than 24 states. That started the process in April and May, according to publicly available reports and the data obtained by the Associated Press. Florida has dropped several 100,000 people, by far the most among states. The drop rate also has been particularly high in other states. For people whose cases were decided in May, around half or more got dropped in Arkansas, Idaho, Kansas, Nevada, New Hampshire, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Utah, and West Virginia. By its own count, Arkansas has dropped more than 140,000 people from Medicaid. The eligibility redeterminations have created headaches for Jennifer Majaki, 28, who was told in April that she no longer qualified for Medicaid because Arkansas had incorrectly determined her income was above a limit. Let me see. She got that resolved. Was then told her 5-year-old son was being dropped from Medicaid because she had requested his cancellation, something that never happened. She said her son's coverage had been restored, but now she's been told that her husband no longer qualifies. The uncertainty has been frustrating, she said. It was like fixing one thing, then another problem came up, and they fixed it, then something else came up, she said. Arkansas officials said they have tried to renew coverage automatically for as many people as possible and place a special emphasis on reaching families with children, but a 2021 state law requires the post-pandemic eligibility redetermination to be completed in 6 months, and the state will continue to swiftly disenroll individuals who are no longer eligible. The Department of Human Services said in a statement. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders has dismissed criticism of the state's process. Those who do not qualify for Medicaid are taking resources from those who need it, Sanders said on Twitter last month. But the pandemic is over and we're returning back to a way of normal life. More than 93 million people nationwide have enrolled in Medicaid as one of the most recent available data in February, up nearly one-third from the pre-pandemic total in January 2020. The rolls swell because federal law prohibited states from removing people from Medicaid during the health emergency in exchange for providing states with increased funding. Now that eligibility reviews have resumed, states have begun plowing through a backlog of cases to determine whether people's income or life circumstances have changed. States have a year to complete the process, but tracking down response from everyone has proved difficult because some people have moved, changed contact information, or disregarded mailings about the renewal process. Before dropping people from Medicaid, the Florida Department of Children and Families said it takes between 5 and 13 contact attempts, including texts, emails, and phone calls. Yet the department said 152,600 people have been non-responsive. The coverage could be restored retroactively if people submit information showing their eligibility up to 90 days after the deadline. Unlike some states, Idaho continued to evaluate people's Medicaid eligibility during the pandemic, even though it didn't remove anyone. When the enrollment freeze ended in April, Idaho started processing those cases, dropping nearly 67,000 of the 92,000 people whose cases had been decided so far. I think there's still a lot of confusion among families on what's happening, said Hillary Hagan, a health policy associate at the nonprofit Idaho Voices for Children. She added, "We're likely to see people showing up at a doctor's office in the coming months not knowing they lost Medicaid. Advocates fear that many households losing coverage may include children who are actually still eligible because Medicaid covers children at a higher income levels than their parents or guardians." A report last year by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services forecast that children would be disproportionately impacted, with more than half of those disenrolled still actually eligible. That's difficult to confirm, however, because the federal Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services don't require states to report a demographic breakdown of those dropped. In fact, CMS has yet to release any state-by-state data. The AP obtained data directly from the states and from other groups that have been collecting it. Medicaid recipients in numerous states have described the eligibility redetermination process as frustrating. Right. I see Professor has his hand up. Professor, you want to go ahead? And like I say, guys, we just want to cover the topics. For anybody that wants to go ahead and talk on anything that we discussed tonight, for those that's just coming up in the space, we talking about Russell Simmons. We talking about the situation with black farmers and them still trying to get justice. We're talking about the $6.2 billion that Ukraine is receiving because of supposedly an error by the U.S. And we're also talking about the 1 million people being dropped from Medicaid as well, too. So, guys, feel free to go ahead and touch up on any topic that you want to touch up on tonight. Once again, for those up in the space, make sure you guys go ahead and tweet this space out. For those that have not subscribed to the YouTube channel as well, please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's like the fourth or fifth on the right-hand side. So let me go ahead and kick it to Professor. Professor, go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right, thank you, man. This whole thing with Ukraine, the $6 billion error, as I am concerned, this is no error. This is something that they've been doing for the longest now since Biden's been in the office, sending money over there to these people when they could have already been setting up money for our reparations. So what they're doing with the whole Ukraine situation is really supposed to be ours. And I really wish we had a way we could take up a case or come together for some type of case that we can bring against the United States for this type of situation, because you're willing to send money over to a foreign nation in a war that has nothing to do with any of us. It has nothing to do with us. I really could care less if these neo-Nazis blow each other up. I don't care. If Putin blows that dude up over there, or he blows Putin up, I don't care. I don't care about Putin wanting to take over Ukraine. I don't give a shit. They all related over there, and them folks all the same. They all come out the same damn mountains, okay? Neo-Nazi. That's what that is. That's a neo-Nazi on a neo-Nazi. So far as I am concerned, they can continue to blow each other up. Now, you're sitting up over there, sending money and sending equipment over there. You're sending everything over there to these people when you got a lot of situations right here within the United States that we need to be addressing right now, such as Black American homelessness. All the Black men that you see out on the streets right now, Black women too, because a lot of Black women right now are being evicted out of their homes. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. As soon as Biden signed off on that moratorium, where he decided to just go ahead and end the moratorium, they went in, y'all. These folks said, you know what? Now that we got that moratorium on, we finna start evicting people, and they didn't waste no time. I'm telling you, they were getting that paperwork ready. As a matter of fact, they had the paperwork ready to get people on out. And the majority of the people that they've been trying to get out of these houses and out of these apartments are Black American. That's who you see out here right now. As you go through America, you will see tent cities set up in just about everywhere. Right there in Montgomery, I see a lot of our people homeless right there in Montgomery, right here in Montgomery, Alabama. And it's a sad state of affairs, man, seeing our people starving and hungry and barely making it, but yet we have all this money that we just giving away to a foreign nation of neo-Nazis. I really am bothered by that, and I really wish, like I said, we need a great attorney like a Johnny Cochran that can bring a case against the United States for this right here, because they are neglecting the people that they should be looking after right here, the people that are here, that were born here, that helped build the nation that we are in. This is where my forefathers have laid their blood. And I'm going to tell you something. We got to stop this. We got to stop this, because I don't care about those neo-Nazis over there blowing each other up. I hope they continue on killing each other off. And then while they at it, maybe they'll come over and get these neo-Nazis over here and blow these ones up. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, let's see all y'all kill each other off. That's what I want to see. Because that's the same thing they want us to do to each other. They want us to kill each other off, see? And I'm telling you, Black American family, we got to be on that time, that mindset now, that we don't need to be giving a damn about white people. See, for too long, we gave a damn about them and didn't think nothing about ourselves. So now it's a whole new plan here. That's right. The plan is Black Americans must think about themselves only. Okay? So if neo-Nazis are over there fighting with each other, blowing each other up, killing each other, so be it. I want Joe Biden to give us our money. And that money that he keeps trying to send over there to them folks, or he's sending over there to those folks, is ours. And we need to be trying to find a way to get that money to stay right here where it's supposed to be to help our people. That's right now in deep turmoil here. So I'm gonna land my plane right there. I don't even want to speak on the Medicaid shit, man. I mean I don't know what to say about the whole Medicaid situation. It's just like everything else that's going on in this country. Newstoter, man. All of the shit is going to shit. There you go. I land my plane right there.
All right, Professor. Appreciate that. Yeah, man. It's that Medicaid. You know, it's going to affect poor people. You know, it's definitely going to affect Black people disproportionately as well too. Just the amount of money that we pour into the system, just the amount of money we have in this system is going all throughout the country and stuff like that. But we need to go ahead and take care of home close first and foremost. Now, Bobo, I know I saw you with the thumbs down when Professor was speaking, so I know you must have had you must have didn't like what he was saying about Ukraine and I guess maybe supplying them with weapons and stuff like that. Go ahead and speak on your feelings, Bobo.
Yeah, I just want to say he gave us some bad information on that. Russia is not Nazis. If you pay attention to the world and world history. They never colonized nobody. They never enslaved anybody. They the ones pulled our coat and said these Nazis. They was telling us that these Nazis. See, you might be looking at Putin's white skin, but Putin don't see himself as the same as the Anglo-Saxon. He even calls them Anglo-Saxons.
Bobo, them damn folk don't give a damn about us. They neo-Nazis too.
Let him finish real quick, Professor. Go ahead, Vovo.
I didn't come off. I mean, see, this is my thing, right? I'm not just gonna judge you off what I think. I'm judging off the history because the history is there. We gotta talk facts. We gotta talk facts, brother. Like, well, you gonna have to show me where they operated as neo-Nazis. You gonna have to show me what country Russia has enslaved. They wasn't at the Berlin Conference. You gonna have to show me. You gonna have to show me that. You know, let's not just be fooled by the color of their skin. It's the same way we look like the Africans. We ain't the same. It's about lineage. You gotta look at the lineage of the Russians. They ain't enslaved nobody. You know, that's why I was thumbing down on that. But as far as I wanted to touch on the aid to Ukraine, that's finesse. Let me ask y'all this. Y'all think they sending Ukraine what, $6 billion? Like, here goes $6 billion in cash. No, that $6 billion is tanks. That $6 billion is bullets, AR-15s, boots, socks, toothpaste, toothbrushes, screws to fix their weapons, screwdrivers to field kits, meals in the field, that type of shit. Shit to dig shovels. All that shit coming from America. American companies is getting rich off that type of shit. Smith and Wesson, the companies in America that own that's got the government contracts to make the tanks to get shipped to Ukraine, to make the bullets to get shipped to Ukraine. That's who getting that money.
BlackRock getting all the money.
Where would they spend it at? They at war. Where would they spend it? If I dropped $1 million in the middle of Ukraine, they ain't going to no Gucci. They ain't at McDonald's. It's wartime over there. The shit going kaboom. It's bombs going off for real. Y'all ain't heard no bombs yet. So that's just what I want to say about that. The $6 billion is coming from American companies. It's just stuff. That's who getting the money.
All right, Vovo. Now I will say this right here. Yeah, they didn't take part in the transatlantic slave trade or the colonization that the Western Europeans did, but for the people in that area, they consider Russia a bully because you did have the Soviet Union. Let's not forget that you had all these other countries that were under their thumb, and they were trying to get away from the Soviet Union. So, I mean, you can stick your thumb down, but Yugoslavia and all the rest of them as well too. The Eastern Bloc, I mean, they control that whole area there.
Who Yugoslavia with now?
Aren't they independent?
They with NATO.
But I'm saying
they start sucking up all those countries into NATO. That's where Ukraine trying to go with NATO now.
But I'm saying but I'm saying at one time though, Volvo, they were under the Russian thumb though. You would agree with that, right? Not Russia, but Soviet Union. I'm sorry, the Soviet Union.
What do you mean? They had a union. The Soviet Union ain't nothing but a NATO.
The Soviet Union they were taking countries by force over there as well too. Now, I mean,
were they really, or were they having spats? Like how they having spats now? Like I'm asking, were they having spats, or were they?
Whatever they was having, I know those countries were more than happy to get away from their ass. So
were they really?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think they were.
Yeah, they were, Bobo, because when Joseph Stalin was in power, he put all of those countries under dictatorship, just like he had the Soviet Union. So yes, those countries, when they got a chance to get their freedom, yes, they were happy. Because Joseph Stalin, when he came to power, he made sure he put a Soviet bloc over damn near all of Eastern Europe.
I don't think Ukraine wants to be back part of under the Soviet thumb.
Well, that's the thing. You gotta ask, what is they fighting about? What do y'all think they fighting about?
Russia wants to dominate the area. I would assume
that ain't what they fighting about. That ain't what he saying all the time. Yeah, y'all ain't listening to what Putin is saying. He's saying he didn't want NATO on his border. He don't want that on his border. He's saying that breaking up the Soviet Union was a bad thing. We could have handled this business ourselves. He's saying that he don't want NATO on his border. Ukraine want to join NATO. And he don't want NATO on his border. He don't want America on his border. He don't want them white people on his border. That's what he's saying.
Them white people, they're white themselves.
They not though. You gotta look at the history. I'm giving you all homework.
So then what are they? African?
On Russia. Russia has got all types of different people in.
And how many Asian presidents have you seen head up Russia? Yeah, we know that you're Asian and whatnot. We know that they have some hell, a lot of Europeans got mixed with it's all the same damn continent. You're Asia, all of it, really, if you want to be honest.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I'm talking about Great Britain and France and them too. It's all Europe ain't no damn continent, that little ass tiny, it's all Eurasia. No, you playing semantics. What are you talking about?
In this very space back here, I think about 2 months ago, in total space, we talked about a Russian governor over there who blamed Black Americans for stuff that was going wrong over there. See, that's a clear indication.
That was not true. No, that was not true.
Oh, that wasn't true?
No, he said. Well,
he blamed rap music for the he blamed rap music for the way that the Russian kids was.
Exactly.
So he would be blaming Black people then.
There's a hole in Russian culture. What he's saying is that we got a problem with we can't captivate our youth. The Black Americans are captivating our youth. They got our youth fascinated. They want to be like the Black American. He didn't say that Black Americans are over here doing shit. He's recognizing that we doing something wrong.
Well, yeah, Volvo. I think what the man was trying to blame. He was saying that how bad that the youth had got in the country, and he was trying to put it on rap music, and he was trying to put it on Black people as well too. Let's be for real, Black people. I don't care if everybody say, well, it's the culture, it's this and that. Whenever people think about rap music, especially the negative impacts of it, they think about Black people, and that's exactly what this white man, this Russian, was thinking about as well.
All right. Well, let me say this then. If he blaming us, we know that he ain't doing nothing but troll. We not over there in Russia. They need to look away. We just gonna leave it like that. And they need to stop looking at what we doing, because ain't no way I can blame you for what's going on up here in Ohio and you in Florida. I'm not about to say Newstoter making my life messed up. So he must be trolling me.
Like I said,
they need to look away.
Like I said, when he was sitting there trying to blame us, talking about Black Americans are causing them problems over there.
That ain't how I took that, brother. That ain't how I took that.
I'm going to tell you exactly what this is now. He's sitting there telling us that we are to blame for the youth over there shooting each other and doing all kinds of crazy stuff over there. Hey, I don't care if they do kill each other over there. That's what I'm talking about. I hope the Ukrainians, which are the brothers to the Russians, they all related.
They brothers, the Polish, all of them, the Yugoslavians, they all related, man. Come on, stop.
They all related. That's why I'm saying, Bobo, I don't care if all them folks blow each other up over there. Shit, because them folks don't like Blacks, man. It's been Black people that have went over there in those countries that have gotten attacked. Okay.
But that's okay. But listen to this though, brother. They don't like the West, period. They don't like them white people either. Putin don't get along with them. Like he ain't their friend. He ain't he not. We talking about World War III, so he ain't their friend. He don't give a fuck about them. He hate them. They hate him. Now, what I was saying earlier, before we go too left, show me where Russia enslaved somebody. Show me where they've been Nazis, brother. That's what I'm asking. Show me their Nazi history. They fought the Nazis.
They fought the Nazis because they end up getting invaded. I mean, hold on for a second, Shepard. Hold on. Mute your mic, Shepard. We'll get to you. They fought and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to trans, and because trans, and then it's your go, Shepard. But yeah, they fought them because they were getting invaded by the Germans. The Germans wanted to take over all, so that's why they fought them. They had no choice but to fight them.
Well, you don't invade your ally. We all white supremacists.
All right, let me go ahead, Volvo. I'm gonna go ahead and I got to get to some other speakers. Trans, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay. Hello. Thank you, Mr. Newstoter, for letting me talk in your space. And I wanted to say that, I often hear people say stuff like, "Oh, the Russians never colonized Africans" and everything like that. And yes, that may be true, but we need to look back to what's time of what do I say it? What point in time of the society, I think that's the right word, that we were in. And so back then there was no such thing as planes and everything like that, technology that we have today. For example, most of the slave trade and colonization of Africa took place via the ocean and via via the ocean and via the ocean and land. So therefore, it was mainly the Spanish and the Portuguese, the British, the French who had the main advantage if you look at the location of all those countries. So if Russia had even tried to even colonize, they would have had the disadvantage as you know how cold it is in Russia. So so when I hear people say that Russia was a friend, no, they weren't. And also, more recent times, when my parents were kids, back in Africa, they actually did fund several civil wars in Africa. So I don't see Russia as being any better or a friend to Africans or anything like that. And I find it very, very scary when I see some of my fellow Africans actually wave the Russian flag and say we love Russia and all that stuff. And and I just want to say that, and also the Ukrainian thing, I do find it a lot of agree with helping people in need, but we have like homeless people, a rise in homelessness here in America, and I just want to say that. And also, I think it was you, Professor. You often seem quite quite insulting towards people, and calling people Nazis, calling people yellow racists, calling people transphobic things, anti-LGBT things, and I just want to say that. And can you please stop it? Just be nice, man. And thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty, thank you, Trans. Let me go ahead and get to
Trans. The day that you stop being a transformer is the day I get my shit together. Okay, stop transforming.
All right, let me go ahead and get to Shepherd. Shepherd, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yo, peace. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
That's what's up. How you doing, Tota?
What's going on with you, bro? I'm hanging in there.
All right, good, man. Don't let your blood pressure get up, man. It's a beautiful, beautiful day outside, man. Eat your vegetables. Go see a doctor regularly. this ain't worth it, man.
Hey, I'm straight. I'm just moving the conversation along. I'm straight.
I'm just saying, like, so the brother was speaking about Ukraine and the aid given to Ukraine, and our tendency to always make a comparative analysis to any money given to anyone else that can be used for us as Black Americans or for other causes that are more worthy. And that conversation is probably never going to go away. Like, we're always going to have and see something that the government is doing that we think the money should go somewhere else and do a better job. That's just part of being advocates and being human beings, right? So one of his central points was that it's not money, and he's correct. The reason why he's correct is that America is the number one arms dealer, and all of the second generation, third generation, fourth generation weapons that we have, they have to clear the shelves, just like a grocery store has to clear its shelves. Everything that we're sending to Ukraine, we're either sending it to them because it's old tech, and we're already on another generation of that tech, and or because we're clearing the shelves so that we can manufacture more weapons to send elsewhere and to Ukraine as well. So he is absolutely correct. You have to live in a city or work in a city like Newport News, like Lockheed Martin is there, Raytheon, Boeing. You have to go through Central Virginia where the CIA is. They do a lot of weapons training. You have to live in shipyard cities, like in California, in Norfolk, to really have an understanding of how these wars employ actually black people. Like when there's no war and there is just slow and peace times, it's a lot of major cities across on the East Coast and the West Coast, primarily along the water, along the water, that don't have any work. They lay off the black people in the shipyards first. They lay off the unskilled labor. If they're not making bombs and they're not making parts for planes and they're not making things for war, then they get laid off. And these industries, forget white people for a minute, employ a lot of us. And I have friends and family and people I know who have got their mortgage paid off and they've got their car, they got a boat, they got their truck, their ATV. This is all off of the defense industry. And then you got the 8A contractors. 8A is a program through the Defense Department that's specifically for black. Of course, they add minority, but black people have taken advantage of 8A since the 70s, I believe. And that means that I, as an 8A contractor, can get contracts with the military to supply the military with things. But 8A contracts also fall short when there's no war and when we're not spending money overseas sending people weapons. So these allocations that Ukraine is currently getting, it is not all cash. It is exactly what the brother said. Exactly what the brother said, without a doubt. And I can show you, I got receipts. Like I've been studying it for a while because I was a little pissed off. Not at this war. I was looking at Iraq and Afghanistan. I was trying to figure out how they sending so much money over there. And then a lot of people that are in the industry sat me down, and some of them were black, and they were like, "Yo, I'm making a killing off this war right now." You know what I'm saying? Like we really getting money right now because this war is going on, and that's just capitalism and consumerism. And unfortunately, black people are capitalists too. We make money off war and famine and poverty too. So I just wanted to make sure that we don't separate ourselves, man. We capitalists. Like I'm a capitalist. You know what I'm saying? I'm a black nationalist, but I'm still a capitalist. And it's a lot of places in the nation where black communities would suffer. I remember when Oakland was booming in the 90s off of having 4 military bases and having the shipyard and everything and all the manufacturing plants. I think I talked about Oakland before. And Oakland was a booming black community. A lot of people in Oakland, black Americans, got rich off of all of the wars that happened. And that's why Republicans tend to start wars. And that's why Democrats tend to start wars. Because we are a militaristic colonization, neo-colonialism nation. And that's what we do. That's how Trump made a lot of money, selling weapons, promising weapons, trading in weapons. But it's not cash exactly. There is aid. But then we have our aid companies that go overseas, they call NGOs, and they go overseas and they make money off of being a middleman for the aid. USAID is a CIA front company. They make millions of dollars just selling aid. So it's all a hustle, and it's not exactly what you think it is. Like it ain't just white people doing it. We get money too off of it and on all these contracts. So I just wanted to just clear that air. He's not wrong in that. Now, as far as Russia is concerned, I don't cape for Russia. I don't think Russia's good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not one of these super patriots that's gonna let the media tell me what to think. Only thing I can say about Russia is that when our leaders back in the days didn't have a place that they could escape to, and they didn't have a place outside of America, and American post office agents and the FBI was seizing their passports and restricting them from moving. They only had a couple places they could escape to. And Paul Robeson is one of the great leaders, and he ended up being a communist. because he wanted to overthrow some of the systematic things that were going on in America. And the only place he could walk with his head up high, you could read about Paul Robeson, he said was in Russia. He said he wasn't experiencing racism like in America, in Russia. And then you could look at all the other places that are Russian countries, that are Russian influenced countries that end up being communists, like Cuba. Who went to Cuba? Sada Shakur. And every black revolutionary went to Russia. And Russia funded the Panthers, Corps, SNCC, any revolutionary organization that was black. Russia funded them and helped them, help them fight America. Obviously, we know why, but it doesn't make a difference. They still were a bigger help to black people than any democracy was. And they have been for a long time, because America is their enemy, and they see the plight of the Negro, as they said, as the plight of the working man. That's how communism ties into black nationalism, because it's about labor and them stealing our labor. And the communists are about collective labor and responsibility, quote unquote, on paper, but that is just how we tie into Russia. So I just wanted to give that brief history about, not having nowhere to escape, but countries that were communist, for people who spoke up against this imperialist serial killers here. So just to keep that in mind when you think about Russia sometimes. That's all I had to say.
Hey, real quick, Shepard, I wanted to ask you, because I know when Paul Robeson went over there, and I know at first they accepted him, but didn't they kind of turn their back on Paul Robeson when he needed them as well too?
Well, Paul Robeson got sick, and he was in a Russian hospital, and there was some questions about his care in that hospital at the time and access to him while he was on his deathbed. So there were some questions at the end of his life as to if Russia could have did more, when he was sick. But they didn't. I don't know if I would construe that to turn their back on him. Paul Robeson was an elite, so everybody didn't have access to him from the beginning anyway. He walked the streets as a normal Negro, but he was an elite person. He could come and go. He had more privileges than any regular Russian citizen. So he had a benefit. And then they said, there was some questions whether when he got sick, like how he went out wasn't the best. So if that answers your question. Also wanted just to add real quick, as far as Ukraine and Russia and Crimea and what the war is about, the war is about what your brother said. It's about NATO putting its troops on Russia's doorstep and basically constricting and confining Russia into this box where we have deployed almost every type of missile system and weapon system to strategically knock Russia out and get to their missiles once they're fired. So if there ever was a nuclear war, Russia doesn't have it has its subs surrounding us, but it doesn't have these systems right on our border that can knock missiles out the sky quickly and give a tactical advantage to America and NATO. So us being on the border it just wants a ring that it can see as a protection ring against attack. And Crimea and all these Baltic states used to be that little extra ring. And the crazy thing is that they've had these territories throughout all type of administrations. It wasn't just one administration; it's hundreds of years that they've had these territories. And Crimea used to speak primarily Russian. Ukraine used to speak primarily Russian, and then really in the last 50 years, they started trying to flip and go more Western. So it's a lot of back and forth. You really got to study it. It's hard to give a definitive answer, but the war is about the next way to wash the weapons and get the new weapons off the shelves and into the high hands, and to test Russia. Like, this is a huge test to see if conventional warfare still works. Do ground assault still work? Are drones susceptible to these new hand beams that they can shoot these beams in the sky and knock drones out? Can you use AI in war? So it's just all these other aspects that the Western and the Russians are playing with as far, and the Chinese are watching the whole shit like, all right, let's see, if what we need to improve upon. So this shit is just dangerous, son. That's all I got to say, man.
All right. Appreciate that. Hold on, Volvo. Hold on real quick, Volvo. Appreciate that, Shepard. I'm gonna get to you, Volvo, too, because we got you coming up as well too. But I appreciate that. Once again, guys, for those that can, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's up in the jumbotron. That's up in the jumbotron. That is the fifth one on the right hand side. So if we got one subscriber tonight. Let's see if we can get a couple more subscribers. Also, for those that can support on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. If you do not have a Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the jumbotron. Once again, that's $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Let me go ahead and get to DJ, and then I get to you, Volvo. You there, DJ?
My bad. Yeah, I'm here. My bad. Well, this thing take a minute to click off or whatever the case be. So, okay, let's get to it. Hold on, I'm trying to actually post this thing over here. Let me go back. Come over here to the chat. Put this thing in right here. So, okay, I know you said no more stuff in the jumbotron, but I just got to make a point. Volvo kind of right, you know what I'm saying? And Shepard was right too, you know what I'm saying? So, y'all just need to go look up the Budapest Accord. The Budapest Accord or Budapest Memorandum, some people might call it. This was back in 92, 93 with Gorbachev and Clinton when they tear down this wall, President Gorbachev and all this other stuff. That's what that was about. So really it's the Ukrainians and a lot of them folks that's down in Poland and certain lower areas of Russia. Those were the Nazis and the white supremacists. Now I have met some folks from Russia in my lifetime, mainly in the east. I think Russia way up there in a country called, they pronounce it Georgia, but it's Georgia to us. It's spelled the same way too. You know what I mean? So, I don't think they had any problems with us initially over here. You know what I mean? They seem like cool folks. I worked for some of them. You know what I mean? And a lot of them used to tell me that when they was escaping oppression or persecution from other parts of the country or whatever the case be, a lot of them jokers don't like the Kremlin, you know what I mean? So like Professor, they write about that too. They just really fight their own people, you know what I mean? To a certain extent, you know what I mean? So with that being said, get up there, learn about the Budapest Accords, all that other stuff. Russia really don't have no real history. I hate it, certain parts of Russia. I ain't gonna say all parts of Russia, all the history have any real what's the word I would be looking for? I guess hatred towards black Africans, you know what I mean? Throughout the diaspora. I ain't gonna say all of them, you know what I'm saying? It's like that, but there's no real history of that, so Bobo's right about that. Russell Simmons, hey man, I'm rolling with Russ. Other than that rush card situation you brought up, Tax, that was true. So shout out to you, Tax, that's true, you know what I'm saying? But with this family issue, you know what I mean? I don't see him doing anything wrong other than cutting their funding off. That's what it seemed like to me. He just cut the credit card off, cut the check, stop loan, go get a job. You know what I'm saying? The oldest daughter, she graduated from Harvard. So it's like, what the hell is you doing? You know what I'm saying? You could go run your own shit now. You know what I mean? You're educated. You could go. I'm your father, so you got pulled for just being the Simmons. You know what I mean? Your mother is Kamora. You got pulled from being that. So what's stopping y'all? It seemed like this might be like another Brian McKnight situation where it's just, hey man, I'm cutting y'all asses off. I don't care if you're black. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go live my life. I don't birth y'all and raised y'all for whatever the reason. You know what I mean? I'm out. Black farmers. Yeah, we pretty much know what's going on, man. Shout out to the Maoris out there in Colorado. And 6 billion error. Nah, that's definitely ain't no error. But I agree with Volvo. The Black Rock homies, they getting money. You know what I mean? And some of our folks do be involved in this war games and shit, aka the Hunger Games. That's why Black folks need to stay out of the, not just the military, but stay out of these problems. Like how all of a sudden, Ukraine and Russia, they get back to beefing after 30 years for whatever the reason. And that was mainly Putin telling Ukrainians, stay off the border, yo. We got a memorandum, stay off the border. Everything's been good for 30 years. Why y'all want to keep creeping along the border edge when we done told y'all to stop? They didn't listen. Putin sent that nuke over there and started bombing their ass. I'm not playing. So here go Jim Crow Joe. And I think the other reason why They saying that we helping Ukraine out is because the first lady is supposed to be a Ukrainian woman. I don't know how true that is, but that's what they're saying. So even if that, say for instance, that was true, hey man, we over here using our military for their benefit. So there was something else. Hunter Biden, you need to go to jail. Let's add that in there too. And the Medicaid thing, that's a touchy subject right there. I don't know. That's a touchy subject right there. I'll drop on that one. But go ahead.
All right, Vovo, real quick, go ahead, because I'm going to go ahead and get to the new speaker, Dana. So go ahead, Vovo.
Yeah, I just want to say, with the border thing over there, and they didn't want NATO on their border because this is a war game. You got to look at the map of the world as like a board, That's how they look at it. Whoever taking up the most space, whoever can put themselves in the best position to get this, and that, to try to win the game. That's how they looking at it. We at war. So they don't want America on their border. Because then Moscow, that's the capital city of Russia, is more on the western side of Russia. It's not like in the middle or anything. That's the capital city. If I let you put a nuclear bomb or some type of weapon in Ukraine, then you got Moscow at gunpoint. That's what Putin was saying. That's all this is about. He don't want them to join NATO. He don't want Ukraine to join the West. That's all this is about. The Western media spent it into some other stuff. I'm gonna close with this. I heard in the Newstoter space, I heard Newstoter itself read an article about what Vladimir Putin told the Africans. He said, "Y'all worship us as gods. Y'all Africans they shop in the West and they go to school in America and they go home just to die." You read that article yourself. So why would he be telling Africans that? Why would he be telling them that? He trying to pull their coat the game. He said, "Y'all think that white people are gods, but we're not." Why would a Nazi say that? A Nazi wants you to worship him as God. He pulled their coat. We got this term called game goofy. That's a street term. That's for somebody that can't recognize game when it's in their face. He giving out game. I don't know how we would call this guy a Nazi. We got to look at his resume. If he giving somebody that's giving you game, they not your enemy if they telling you the truth. I let my plan. I appreciate you. Let me speak, brother.
All right. And what article was that I read? Because I don't even remember what space that could have been. That could have been a space 100 spaces ago. So what article exactly was it?
That's when Putin called Africa a graveyard for Africa.
Cemetery, yeah, for Africa.
He called what now? What? He called Ukraine?
Go ahead, Bobo. No, go ahead, Bobo. You got it.
No, I'm sorry, brother. I cut you off. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. We agreeing on the same thing. Just when Putin called Africa a cemetery, as you said, for Africans. You know what I mean? That's when he was saying that, hey, look, we ain't gods or nobody that's special. Why y'all still letting these folks that's from France and Italy and all these other places in America still, and obviously the Chinamen, come over to Africa and just start doing whatever, you know what I mean? So, it is what it is. Go ahead.
All right. Let me go ahead and get to Dana. Dana, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, this is a good space tonight. But I kind of want to just chime in real quick because y'all brought up Russia and Ukraine. And it's a little bit of misinformation. And honestly, Russia has a very, very deep history. And we all really need to study it. But they don't teach us Russia in the United States, if you notice that. So if you go to Cuba or other countries, they learn about Chinese and Russian history inside out. United States purposely don't teach us about Russia because that's our adversary. However,
I can't hear anything. Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you. You can't hear Dana speaking?
Drop down, come back up.
Yeah, okay. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, Dana.
Okay, so
Jumbotron, top left hand side, real quick too, y'all. Top left hand side. Go ahead, Dave.
but Russia is not our friend. Russia is nobody's friend. Russia was at the Conference of Berlin in 1875 and the Berlin Conference of 1885. So they were part of the carving up of Africa. Russia was in a war with the Ottoman Empire and they won. So you have to understand, when you go back in history, up until today, war is to conquer and gain power. It's more like, don't take it personal. This is war. This is what you do. It's human nature. Ukraine has been part of Russia since the 17th and the 18th century. They never parted from Russia, but so when they somewhat got their independence, they promised in writing to never join NATO. And Russia invaded Ukraine because, they wanted to join NATO, but they were not supposed to, and that was in writing, because they're still kind of under Russia, sort of say, even though they're claiming their own separate independent in the 21st century. So stop romanticizing if Russia was sympathetic to Black people. No, Russia was concerned about Russia. Russia was a communist, Marxist country under Stalin. They teamed up, Stalin teamed up with the Germans to execute the Jews, to exterminate the Jews. But when Germany invaded Russia, that's when Stalin was like, well, we're supposed to be on the same side, but you coming over here trying to conquer my shit, so now we got to beat you up out of my country. And that's how World War II was won. That's why the U.S. even entered World War II, and I'm sorry for even going off, but the purpose, the U.S. entered the war in Germany in World War II because Russia was attacking Germany, and we wanted to come in, United States, and be the hero. But technically, it was Russia that ended World War II because Germany invaded Russia, and Stalin was an anti-Semitic. So Vogel was saying Russia wasn't part of the Berlin Conference, and it was. They were part of both of them. They're not our friend. Nobody is our friend. So I would have to side with Professor, with his analogy and how he was trying to break it down, saying like they're all white people. They are. So, and Russia is the only country that touches on two separate continents, Europe and Asia. So we all need to refresh ourselves and educate ourselves on Russia. And they're building Silk Roads and doing trades right now in different countries in Africa, along with China and along with everybody else who's always been in the continent of Africa. So let's just stop romanticizing as if Russia is our friend. They're not. Nobody's our friend. And as for Russell Simmons, I don't like, that's Black privilege on this, like white privilege. These kids, and I don't care how old you are, I don't want to know your business when you're upset with your parents. Russell Simmons paid $20,000 a piece for both his daughters after the divorce from Kamara. And that was just child support. That wasn't even the alimony. So you want to whine about you was in Greece at some damn camp, honey, and he stranded you. Well, yeah, you should have called your mama because your mama was getting $20,000 just for you for over 10 years. So, that's some bullshit that I don't sympathize with the mama or the daughters. Because y'all coming on social media running your mouth about something that we don't care. Kamora know all the deviant stuff that Russell did because she was compliant to it. Accomplice, that's what I meant to say. She was part of it. He liked the boys, she liked the girls. Let's not play that game. She was part of that rush scam.
Allegedly.
I know that's right. Allegedly.
It's documented with the CFPB. So I don't.
I'm talking about the sex thing. Allegedly.
That's why Kamora caught herself when she wanted to say Miz. But girl, you should have just said Miz on your live because you trying to air out everything else. Show us the receipt. She's not gonna show receipts because her name on it. Even with her fake ex-husband Tim, she knew what that man was doing. That's why she put money in different shell companies allegedly, because Kamara knows how to save a coin and she know how to make it and she know how to get it out of men. So the fact is that yes, they're cons like Russell said, but he is a piece of shit too. And we all have to hear about it and talk about it and have these privileged people of wealth, I guess entertain us. And now we're talking about them and helping them go viral to sell some whatever products they selling. So that's it.
Real quick, Dana, because I gotta ask you this because I know Nat, he's on YouTube, and everybody wants to know exactly. Because I'm gonna be honest, I never heard anything about Russia being at the Berlin conference. So, is there anything that you got that you can post just to show that? Because I've never even.
I was trying to put the link. No, that was the other article for Russia. Only thing you got to type in, just Google it. Was Russia at the Berlin conference? And they're going to have 14 nations there. And then you have like 4 major nations that were like the major players, but they were there. It was 2 conferences. It was the Conference of Berlin and the Berlin Conference. Russia was there because
What
the conference.
Did they take, sis?
The conference it's not what country did they take. It's about abstracting resources. So we all know Belgium got a big chunk of the Congo, but the fact is that in the Conference of Berlin of 1875. By 1885, Russia had conquered the Ottoman Empire. So the Ottoman Empire, you're talking about over there going towards the Middle East and Turkey area, whatever. It was the Russia-Turkey War. So, of course, they were claiming all those resources in that land. And then by the time you go to the Berlin Conference of 1885, they were there. They had ambassadors there. There were 14 nations of ambassadors. And then Britain, France, Belgium, Spain, and the United States were the major players. So you could just Google it, and then you could go deeper with documentaries and other books too that outlines exactly what they talked about. They have, even Wikipedia has the agenda, of what they talked about each damn day. The point I'm making here is they were there at both conferences. It is about power. You're talking about the G7 summit and the G20 summit. It goes on today. The same thing they did centuries ago still continues today. Let's not play that game. That's just how this society that we're living in operates. It's about power and extracting resources that you retain power and wealth. And you have to go to Africa to abstract those resources.
All right, thank you, Dana. Yeah, I glanced real quick on Google, and it did say that Russia was in attendance. Just from what I saw real quick at the actual Berlin conference, and I think they got a piece of some pieces that was part of Romania and also part of the old Ottoman Empire, whatever. So maybe they didn't get.
So you have the Conference of Berlin in 1875, and then 10 years later you have the Berlin Conference of 1885. So we all need to go and study those 2 conferences, because what happened then in the 1800s is the effect of what we see today.
All right, let me go ahead and get the no taxation.
Right on the money. She was right on the money with all of that, y'all.
Yeah, because like I said, I just glanced real quick and I didn't look, but yeah, I did glance, and they were in attendance, and the Ottoman Empire had. Let's not forget how big the Ottoman Empire was at one time. But they ended up taking pieces of the Ottoman Empire as well too. So
yeah, and then let's study the Ottoman Empire, right? And they were ruling for centuries. So all the shit the Ottoman Empire did. And then you go back further than the Ottoman Empire, and then it takes you back to Rome when Rome was, conquering the whole world. Then you go back. So again, you have to just, if you take one thing, just go back to the other, and you see the same thing happening today. It's history for a reason.
Can I ask you, is the Ottoman Empire in Africa?
No, they didn't get part of Africa. No, I mean. That's what Yeah, they didn't get part.
Honestly, I'm not trying to be funny. None of us up here are historians, but the Ottoman Empire, were they in Africa? What did they come into Africa? Yes, they did. So the fact is that that would be more of East Africa. So again, go and read up on the Ottoman Empire.
We know what Dana talking about. She's saying you're not a professor or a professor of study of history. You are just like everybody else.
Why ain't I? What I gotta give?
Because if you literally just asked her a question to answer your question, to get her to answer your question that you don't have the information on, so that means you are not a professor. That's for real. Are you in a university right now?
That's what I'm saying. I don't gotta be in a university to teach.
So then you're not. That's what she's saying.
It's supposed to be a.
Bobo, you know what she's saying. Stop being difficult. You know what she's saying.
What I'm saying is that I know what she's saying. But what I'm saying, that don't make you right because you teach at a university. Come on now.
I'm not, but that's not what we're arguing. That's not what we're arguing. I didn't say that.
If you trying to invalidate what I'm saying by saying
to make a long story short, Vovo, no, when we think about the colonization of Africa and stuff, the Russians didn't carve up Africa the way that the Western European nations did. They were on the eastern, and had they been on the west, I'm sure they would have got a huge slice of it as well too.
Listen. When you asked me the question about the Ottoman,
that ain't fair to say that, right?
Well, you don't know if they wouldn't have. They conquerors too. What are you talking about?
I could have been an astronaut, brother, but I'm not.
Brother, I'm saying it's not like Russia. It's not like Russia hasn't carved up and taken stuff before as well too. Russia was always. Let's be for real. Let's be for real, bro. Russia was on the garbage side of Europe as well too. That they consider that like the damn garbage can of Europe, East Europe. They consider them like the trash. Let's be honest. The ones that control the world, the ones that colonize the world, Western Europe, Spain, England, France, all of those places.
Brother, they the garbage. They the ones that did all the evil shit in the world. That's the garbage. You're talking to the garbage.
Honestly, Vovo,
you letting the garbage tell you what's the garbage. I'm looking at the.
I'm saying that they looked at Russia as being the trash of Europe. That's what they looked at them as for the longest, as being the trash.
And why is that? Because they not Nazis. That's what it's getting to, bro.
Oh.
They were Nazis under Stalin. What are you talking? Again, go read some books. Like I said,
I know who Stalin is. I know who Stalin is, and just say when people say,
wait. If you know who Stalin is, then
I do know who Stalin is in the Red Army.
What political party? What was his political party?
I don't know all that. But
okay, I know. All right, then. So then,
you don't know who what political party was in.
So then, let's move on.
Yeah, exactly. Stalin was
Real quick, because we got too many people talking. So let's go ahead and move the conversation real quick, y'all. Let's move it because we got a bunch of people talking. And we still got a bunch of hands up and some new speakers in here as well, too. Let me get to no taxation, and then I'm going to get to our new speakers.
Go to the new speakers.
Okay.
You know McCall is in Africa. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know he's in there. I'll go ahead. Let me get to Carlos. Let me go ahead and get to Carlos, and then I get to Phoenix, and I get to McCall. Go ahead, Carlos.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for letting me speak, Newstoter, and co-host, Professor DJ. I actually work in support. I'm a contract, and I can't say too much, but Shepard was exactly right about the amount of money, but I will say this: it's not this war. I'm using air quotes. War isn't what you think it is. And I'll just say, follow the money, and you'll get your answer as to what it's all about, and who is benefiting, really benefiting from it. I mean, yeah, they pay pretty well, but if you Google how much these contractors make, the companies make from the government, I've never seen so many zeros behind these numbers. It's ridiculous. I'm talking trillions of dollars that these companies make. And like I said, I can't say too much. I've seen. I know exactly what is going to the Ukraine, and like I said, follow the money, and I'm gonna land it.
All right, thank you, Carlos. Let me go ahead and get to Phoenix. Phoenix, go ahead and unmute your mic. How you doing tonight?
I'm great. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Because I'm always in the car doing something, so I just want to make sure. Hey, okay, so I'm going to address the room, and I do want to speak on Russia, but Russell Simmons, I have no words. Black farmers, they need to stop calling themselves black farmers and give them an ethnic designator like Friedman and see how that works. And Russia. So, in terms of geopolitical policy, it's just a bad look and a bad idea for us to be over there taunting and playing war games with Russia. Yes, and like Carlos just said, it's all about the money. It's all about the permanent government. All of those dinosaurs that's been in there forever that are all about warmongering. And the reason they're all about warmongering is because that money is going straight to the top, the 1%, and maybe even the 1% of the 1%, because they're all in there with all of these. I mean, they're making screws for things. They're making to go on all of these jets. It goes down to the smallest piece of plastic handle on something. Everybody's making money, and they're all making money from war. They've been making money from war, and they're addicted to it because we've been at war with some country or another for the past, 40 years? 30, 40 years? So they don't want to let it go. However, it is totally wrong for us to be doing anything over there, and they just play with our people. They play with the military, which are human beings, like they're just numbers of just. They treat dogs better, if you ask me, because they always want to put our young boys and girls in some sort of conflict. So right now they may not have boots on the ground, but we don't want it to escalate. So as a country, we're speaking out against it like they were speaking out against Vietnam. That's where we got to be with this, because we don't need it to escalate. It's just not a good look. Now, in terms of Russia being our friend, black people's friend or not, I will say this, and I'm not saying that they are our friends, because you are right. Belgium did do the most brutal, horrific things to the Congo. And we know that Belgium's not Russia, but they are close allies or cousins, just like Ukrainians are cousins to them. But I will say this, they still kind of, the reason they said that to the Africans and what Bobo was saying was because they still really give reverence to the black gods and the black Madonna and the Byzantine Empire that ruled Russia for hundreds and hundreds of years. So they're probably when Putin said that, like, well, damn, don't you really know who you are? Don't you know that we still have states of Africans in our country, that we still worship the black Madonna and the sun? And, so there's probably a certain reverence, and they're just confused why we allow certain things to happen the way we do, because we don't know our own power and who we truly are. And then I'll end there. Thank you.
That's a good that's a good opinion. I know Mikhail was up here. He must have left. Mikhail, if you want to come back up here, I'll definitely let you come back up here and speak. But I know he's over in Africa too, so it could be some connection issues, or he may just have something to do. But if you get a chance to come back up here, Mikhail, come on up here. We'll get you back in to speak. No taxation. Is no taxation up here? Okay, no taxation. You want to go now? You there? No taxation?
She's still laughing in the background somewhere.
Okay. I guess we'll come back to no taxation. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Oh, there's McCall if he wants to come back up here, because I know it's going to take a minute.
Is he up here?
I see him on the space. You see him?
I see him, but he ain't requesting to speak. He may have dropped down because he may have something to do or whatever. But
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, if he wants to come back to
Well,
speak, he can come back.
got you. The Medicaid issue, I just, again, it's just that's one of those humanity issues, and we don't have any control to hire anybody. I don't know, like, how we can actually try to digest those people. Like, when stuff like that happens, we should have an economy that actually is able to pick them people up. So even if they let them go, we have organizations that will pick those people up, and we start to build our foundation. Because at the end of the day, it's almost as if like we're at the mercy of other people, and it's sad. I'm sorry, y'all. I was doing something else, so that's all I got.
Okay, that's cool. Like, because I know you normally go a little bit. Yeah, I know you normally go like another 2-3 minutes and stuff. So
I was doing something else.
well,
That's right. You moving your tax system, no?
that's fine. No taxation. Are you there? I wonder if no taxation if she lost connection. Sometimes people be in the space, but then they be gone. So no taxation. Okay, we may.
Let's see. Did Venus Star have her hand up?
Phoenix, she already talked.
Oh,
Yeah.
she did? Oh, okay.
Yeah, she.
Damn, you know what? Why Miss Giselle be sounding alike sometime, man? I'm sorry. I thought that was
They do not sound alike.
I know, right?
I'm sorry.
They don't sound alike. They sound very different.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought that was Miss Giselle speaking.
They don't sound alike to me either, but hey.
You just think we want big old really fast.
All righty. Anybody else want to speak? I guess if we don't get anybody else to speak, we'll go ahead. Go ahead, Dana.
I didn't feel like typing on my other phone in the YouTube chat, but I just want to address the YouTube people, well, particularly Nate, honey. I think people need to just really start listening.
I know you and Nate always be going at it.
Right. Because, Nate, honey, I said that Russia had beat the Ottoman Empire, and that was in the 1700s. Because he's like, the Ottoman Empire didn't fall to 1922. They didn't have any power by 1922. But Russia had beat them in the war, the Ottoman-Turkish War, and controlled that part of what is the Asian part of Russia, pushed them out and extracting their resources as well. So stop playing with me. But that was it. I just want to address the chat and YouTube.
Yeah, I know you and Nate, y'all always like be having little comments and stuff. I'll be reading it over there. So like Nate's a character as well. Nate normally used to chill in the he likes YouTube better because Nate normally used to chill up in the actual spaces. But I think he's found a home over there in YouTube. So shout out to you, Nate. At least he's a regular over there. So I appreciate him going there holding it down over there. Phoenix, go ahead and unmute your mic.
You know, I was thinking, and another thing with Russia, which, like Dana said, we don't learn a lot of the history about Russia, and I think it's very colored and unique, because that's where the Ashkenazi Jews came from. And so then they got, they were trying to unify the country, and I forgot what period this was, but it was, I want to say 1500s or something like that. And so they were trying to unify the country. And so they were just looking for a religion, right? Like, okay, what can we unify the country with? Okay, language, okay, that's not going to be strong enough. Okay, what's going to bring people together? Let's do religion. And so they literally voted to make Russia, or a certain part of Russia, right? So they ended up getting kicked out. But Jewish, just simply because they needed to unify. So these are the people that are actually, they moved down maybe to Germany and did that in Poland and all those other countries over there in Eastern Europe. And those are the ones that are actually running the world right now. And that's where they they originated from. But so that's why when you hear, they're not the original Jews, they just kind of, just adopted it and took over the world with it. So I just wanted to say that.
All right. Hold on, Volvo. You come back up here and then you jump in and you just jump in ahead of other people, man.
No, I just want to say this to her before, because other people gonna go on some other stuff and she stumbled up. Okay.
Who is her?
Can y'all remind me of what she just said about the Jew?
Who is her? She got a name.
Talk about Phoenix. Go ahead, Phoenix. Say what you were saying about. She was saying that's what the Ashkenazi Jew.
I was saying that if y'all can remind me on my turn, I'm sorry.
Who is her?
Phoenix.
I'm just messing Newstoter. Okay, I'm messing with him.
I'm like, it was Phoenix speaking. Go ahead, Shizm, and then Volvo will get to you.
Okay, thank you. I see y'all over there having fun. Just having a ball. I wanted to kind of touch on the Medicaid. Medicaid fraud is rampant throughout this country. It's just known. It seems like it's every state's little piggy bank that they can go dig in and defraud. You have so many states around Georgia, North Carolina, California. I mean, they just seem to be dipping in that money. They make these fraudulent claims. They order stuff that patients don't need, and it be small things like crutches, ventilators, wheelchairs, just small things that eventually it adds up, and that's how they end up getting caught. I remember working for a medical center down in Georgia, down in Tucker, and they have been charged by the Department of Justice for defrauding Medicaid for over $2 billion, and they had to the Department of Justice had to actually come in there and then kind of take over for a second so that they can kind of clear up some things. And then they had been under watch for a couple of years. So they violated several federal laws and charges, like, HIPAA, giving out patient information, making, fraudulent claims on deceased patients and, the elderly. So I don't know if the money is just, if they have that much money in Medicaid, that people can just, government or hospitals and medical centers can just write up these false claims, and then it just go unrecognized for so many years. I mean, it's just kind of unbelievable that they just constantly, just taking that money like that, and then we the ones who end up having to pay. We have to pay, and that, I don't think that's really fair. I think it should be, tighter restrictions or something on the paperwork, that they have to submit before they can actually get a check. And I don't know, because it's like 10 million here, 4 million there, 30 million here, and it's just rapid. I mean, when you just go on the Department of Justice website, that's all you see. It's like, really? And I was shocked that the hospital that I worked for was under the investigation of the DOJ. And I only found out because I had to do a research project for a legal studies class. And I was like, what? I was like, what? Damn hospital? But it's I don't know what it is. They can't, IV bottles, I mean, all kind of stuff that they just ordering and then don't really need, and just getting the money. And it's kind of ridiculous. I don't know, but I'll land.
All right, tomorrow night, guys, a space we're going to be talking about white privilege, the use of the N-word, and we're going to be talking about Dr. Umar Johnson, latest video he had on relationships. So, guys, definitely come out to the space, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, white privilege, the use of the N-word, and we're going to be discussing Dr. Umar Johnson's stance on relationships. Dr. Umar had he was on a video last week, and he was talking about relationships. So we want to go ahead and we want to discuss that tomorrow night as well. So white privilege, N word is a time to get rid of the N word. Is it okay to use the N word? And Dr. Umar Johnson on his stance on relationships. Also, guys, like I say, up in the Jumbotron is a YouTube channel. We got one subscription tonight to the YouTube channel. Let's see if we can get at least one more. We won't be going too much longer in the space that is on the right-hand side tomorrow night. We're not going to have all this stuff in the Jumbotron to make it easier to find the stuff. So I believe that's in the 7th or 8th on the right-hand side. Also, for those that want to support tonight's program and the curation platform, Newstoter, the largest Black-owned Black American news media curation platform today in America, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Once again, that's $Newstoter. For those that do not have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. And for those that feel generous and they want to donate $1 to tonight's program, that will be greatly appreciated. Let me go ahead and get to Vovo. Vovo, now you go ahead. You there, Vovo?
Yeah, I just want to say, it kind of killed my momentum, but I want to say the sister said about the Jews that came from Russia. It was something I was gonna say about that. That was very important. Let me say this: you think that Russia don't know that? Russia know who them people is. Russia, they real big on lineage. They real big on lineage. They know them people lineage. They know that them ain't the real Jew. They wouldn't fit the description. They already know that. They know that them people, they know exactly where them people bloodline go back to. So I just want to say it was something else I wanted to add with it, but that's all right. I appreciate you letting me speak though, bro.
All right. Let me go ahead and get to no taxation, and Dana, I get to you, and I might make you guys the last two speakers for the night as well, too. So, no taxation. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
I got so tickled. But anyway, if I had to put on my list of things that I needed to be concerned about, because Shepard was right. Let me just say that he was right. You know, they have to get rid of the old stuff to make way for the new, and some stuff they blow up and some they sell off. But this is a war machine for the world. The United States of America is. And so given the fights that are in front of us in this spaces, whether it be the black farmers, Russell Simmons, Crane, or Medicaid, which I think I'm going to concentrate on. First thing I'm going to do is talk about black people who prey on poor black people. That's Russell Simmons. Always has been and always will be. And that's what I'm going to say about that, because ain't nothing I can do about fighting the war machine of the world, because I'm not a globalist and I'm not a multi-billionaire, almost a trillionaire, so I have no dog in the fight. And that's just the way I look at things. And I would also be concerned about the black farmers and whether they are winning or losing, and what help do they need on social media, because I would certainly get behind that. Medicaid, they put more people on the rolls during COVID. They got them off the rolls, and that's just the name of the game when it comes to social services and social service systems. You know, they have money that is earmarked what they're going to spend and what they're not going to spend. And the first thing that's going to be hit is going to be healthcare, because we don't have healthcare in this country. We really don't. We have fight for your medical care, and you better take care of your health care, because if you don't, you're going to be in a world of trouble, even if you have insurance. And so I'm going to leave it there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. No taxation. Let me go ahead and get to Dana. Dana, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I think Volvo needs to go and move to Russia, because he's in love with Russia. He's so fascinated with Russia. Like, it's this utopia place for black people to go as refuge. But as far as so again, when Phoenix touched on this, but it was a lot of Jewish people at one point in Russia, but Stalin came into power and said, "I don't like you. I'm issuing these policies. I'm going to exterminate you, and I'm on the side with the Germans to exterminate you." And then when Stalin was out of power, the next person that went into power in Russia said, "You know what? We're going to reverse those policies. We're no longer a communist Marxist nation because the USSR is United Soviet Socialist Republic. It's a socialist republic nation, somewhat on the same lines as us here." But yeah, but I've also heard World War II. There were actually more Russians, Jews, and non-Jews that died. Some people say 2015, but it was in the millions that were killed during that time, and a lot of Jewish people. But the point is, we don't have friends. We don't. So just, if you love Russia so much, just go move there. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Dana. Let me go ahead and get to Trenton. Trenton, you're going to be the last speaker for the night. What's going on?
Hey, what's up? You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Yeah. You know what, fam? I'm rolling with Rush on this one, man. This thing then went from, his young daughters, bitching and complaining about money to now Kimura on, saying the man gay and all this, and now this didn't turn a little left, and I think the media right now going to just, run with that and run about with, when he was with more, she now saying she was a young mother. On the real, man, I'm rolling with one, and that's all I got to say. Peace.
All right. Peace. Thank you, Trenton, as always. One of our great followers and listeners on here. So appreciate you for coming through tonight. DJ Professor. Once again, this was another good space, guys. So definitely and I know, like, Volvo, I know he's pretty adamant about Russia. So hopefully Volvo will get a chance to visit Russia one day as well, too. You can keep Russia. I'm kind of like Professor said, I don't give a rat's about Russia. I don't care about Ukraine. I don't care about either one of them.
Newstoter, if Volvo gets stuck over there in Russia, I don't want to hear and I don't want to see no signs talk about bring Volvo home.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't want to see it. I don't bring no black man home. I don't want to see it because if he ain't got no contract business doing over there or whatever, and he over there because he just infatuated, he love them people, I don't want to see no signs when they capture his ass and put him in one of them little camps. Okay.
Apparently Russia's not on the European continent because I don't give a damn if it's Greece, Rome, the Western Europeans, they all were colonizers, and and not only that, Russia's on two continents of colonizers, Asia as well too, Eurasia. So I mean, maybe we missed something in history because I know good as well, Russia's never been like the friends of anybody either. They just only difference is where they're located at. If they were located in Western Europe, they'd be just as much trash as their cousins. But that's another conversation for another day. Professor, y'all want to go ahead and say something real quick?
DJ, you want to do it first?
Go ahead. It don't matter.
Okay. Y'all, just to put this history lesson in perspective, because I'm pretty sure we will revisit more history, as we always do. These people are Slavics, Poles, devils, demons, caucasoids, chemicals, demonoids, whatever. That's what they are. They all of that shit, okay? Don't matter. They all come out of the Caucasus. That whole entire Russian side, because there is the Asian side of Russia, but that whole entire western side of Russia on down to Poland, Romania, Spain, England, these folks are all related folks, y'all. No matter how you look at it, they all demons, okay? And so if they out there blowing each other up, that's something that we as Black Americans shouldn't even try to stop. We shouldn't be sitting there to oh, I'm sad. Damn, I hate to see them fighting each other. Shit, no, keep fighting. Keep fighting, keep blowing each other up. And as a matter of fact, if y'all want to, y'all can come over here and get these caucasoids that's over here fucking with our shit.
Okay? No, the only reason don't come over here because it might impact us as well too. So stay where you at. Yeah, stay where you at.
That's true. It might impact us, but look, the thing is though, all of those over there are cousin, brothers, whatever. They all fucked up. But anyway, this was a great space. Thank you, family, for coming in. Dana, thank you for always coming up in here, giving us the lessons and giving us your theories on life and just coming up here making light in the space. That's what she does. And y'all also go check out Dana and her spaces, and then also on her YouTube. And I just want to throw that plug in there. I land right there.
Next space is in the Jumbotron, y'all. Come on through.
There it is. There it is, y'all. We get to continue this talk.
Oh yeah, and like I said, tomorrow night, y'all, we got the space. We're gonna be talking about white privilege. We're gonna be talking about the use of the N-word, and of course, we got to talk about Umar Johnson and his thoughts on relationships as well too. So definitely make sure y'all come through tomorrow night. Like Professor said, go ahead and make sure you go ahead and subscribe to Dana's YouTube channel as well. She has a pretty big platform on YouTube, so definitely check her out. Also go to her.
Wait. And tell people to subscribe to your channel, and if they have a YouTube platform, to share your channel in their community section, because I did that tonight as well.
Oh, okay. So well, thank you, Dana. Like Dana's always looking out as well too, so definitely appreciate that. And anybody that has a yeah, she's right. We may have to.
You know what I'm saying? He stars, man.
Yeah, definitely, and definitely subscribe to Dana's YouTube channel as well, and share it in your. If you do have a platform on YouTube, put it in your community as well too. So definitely, we'll be back tomorrow night, guys. Thank everybody for coming out. This was a good discussion about Russell Simmons, black farmers, the Ukraine $6 billion era. I'm like you, DJ. It was no era, and I know what Shepard was saying, and everybody else is saying too, because we have gunpowder factories and stuff like that here in Florida. We got all kind of different military type installations here down south as well too. So you're right. We know that we know that war is a big money maker because of how much money the defense puts into it. And you're talking about the biggest manufacturer of guns and ammunition and everything else military wise in the country. So we definitely know when it's a war that big money's made and stuff like that as well too. And Shepard was right. A lot of that stuff, they're just getting rid of equipment and stuff like that, but they're also giving cold hard cash as well too. Don't let anybody fool you. Yeah, they may be giving away billions in terms of equipment and military this and that or whatever. But they're also, because parts of the Ukraine has got to be rebuilt as well too, they're giving away cold hard cash as well to them as well too. They've got billions of dollars in their hand cash wise as well too. Yeah, they got the actual equipment and the guns and the tanks and the choppers and everything that you need or whatever to go against somebody like Russia, but they're also getting cold hard US dollars as well to put in their pockets as well too. So on that note, guys, we will go ahead and we will see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everybody be safe, be cool, and we'll holler at you then.
Peace.
Oh yeah, and check out DJ Space. Yeah, DJ got a space coming up, so definitely go to that as well too, guys.